What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you guys are having a great start to your week. Very, very excited for tonight's showdown. I'm very glad. Did anybody get word on whether or not Kawhi Leonard's playing tonight? Let me check real quick. I really hope he is. Yes, he is. Clippers are starting James Harden, Chris Dunn, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. They're two big looks. That's had some success this year. Let me get out a couple of tweets real quick, and then we can get to some questions before the game starts. All right, let's get a little bit of sound here. The Lakers. I do have a rough one tonight. It looks like I'm just looking at the box score. But I would put him on the short list of the untradeable guys around the league. I think he'd be someone they'd consider in something along the lines of a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, but that'd be about it. Just Niall says, "What's up, Hoopers?" We got to add that to the routine here. Will, we don't want you to have any more nice things, okay? Will says, should the Thunder trade for Giannis? All of you guys hanging out on YouTube, don't forget if you come over on playback, we're going to be taking a couple of callers during the show today. We can also actually watch along together. So if you're on YouTube and you want a little bit more of like a involved, immersive experience, head over to playback. Again, that's playback.tv/hoops tonight. Again, we'll always be simulcasting on YouTube for our YouTube audience, but those of you guys who want a little bit more of a wide-ranging part of the experience, head over to playback.tv/hoops tonight. Niall says, Jason, you do any coaching right now? So since I moved to Denver, I obviously gave up my job coaching high school in Tucson, and I will eventually get back into it. I'm just holding off right now just because I'm doing a lot more work this year on a weekly basis than I have in years past, and I want to get a little bit more established in a routine. Probably not this year at all, but maybe next season. We'll see. And those of you guys who pop in and then back out, we'll be back. I'll be after the game when the final buzzer sounds. I'll be doing a quick little instant reaction, like 15 minutes or so, where I will get into just like a quick synopsis for those of you who did not get to see the whole game. A couple things I have on Ion tonight. So the Clippers, obviously, James Harden's been on like a crazy heater. H Chicken, really quick, we're doing Lakers Collective tomorrow instead of Thursday. So we'll have an episode tomorrow that's live on YouTube at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Me and Trevor and Jovan will be going. Anyway, with the Clippers on offense, the Lakers do a lot of switching. That is going to allow James Harden to kind of pick on specific matchups that he wants to attack. And so I think a big part of this game is going to be the defensive game plan from James Harden on the ball. My guess is that he's going to be doing a lot of like having the guys sit up high on James Harden's left hand and essentially allow James Harden to drive, but at least driving towards his right where he can have a plan with his help and try to skew the jumpers towards some of their lesser shooters off the ball, right? I don't be surprised if we see John Collins get some clean corner looks early, Chris Dunn get some clean corner looks early. And the big one I have my eyes on is without DeAndre Ayton, Ivica Zubac just has a massive offensive rebounding advantage in a game like this, right? So keep an eye on the gang rebounding surrounding Zoo. That's a team effort. That's going to require one guy to basically be up in his body, being physical to try to keep him attached to the ground. Because when a guy's applying a physical box out, that will actually stop that dude from being able to jump. Now that he's stuck to the ground, it's on all the other guys to come flying in to secure the rebound. That's a key part of it. Watch for the Clippers to try to be deliberate about setting up those matchups. So if James Harden starts targeting Jackson Hayes and switches, for example. That's going to leave even less size on the back line. So it's going to be a lot of responsibility on guys like LeBron and Rui to battle on the glass on the backside of those actions. Um, Kawhi's still kind of working himself back into a rhythm. We'll see how much of a factor he is tonight attacking switches. Also, let's keep an eye early to see if maybe JJ wants to try to avoid letting Jackson switch. And if we see some traditional coverages in ball screens with Harden and Jackson to start the game. So those are the things I got my eye on. On the other end of the floor, we'll see whether or not Ty Lue is willing to switch with Zoo. He's been willing to do that in the past against the Lakers before Luka joined the team. And we've seen games where like LeBron is like torching their bigs and switches, and it's been part of how the Lakers have had some success. I think they've won 6 of their last 8 against the Clippers. But against Luka, that can be a different type of decision to make because Luka's so good at beating bigs and switches. So I'll be really curious to see if they actually lean more towards more like drop coverages or blitzing. So let's see what kind of coverage they have with Luka early in the game. Let's see if they blitz. Let's see if they drop. Let's see if they switch. And then on the other end of the floor, it's all going to be about keeping Harden's ISOs geared towards drives. We know JJ Redick really does not like ISO threes. So if JJ doesn't like ISO threes, he's going to want to play up on his left hand and force him to drive right. And in those switches, are they going to be able to keep Zubats off the glass? Those are the things we got our eye on here early. Lakers starting group has been pretty low energy to start games to as of late. So that's something I got my eye on too. Just see if they bring a little bit more intensity to start these games. Jackson wins the tip. Ball goes to Austin. Harden applying some pressure out on Luka way out there. They basically show up at the level and recover. Rui beats the skip pass with a nice contested 3 over John Collins. So we had an at the level and recover from Zoo to start the game. Luka's guarding Chris Dunn. They set a little screen to get him switched on to Kawhi. Then he clears out. They're going to go into the post to Zubats here early. They immediately double with LeBron. Skip, nice rotation from Rui. Beats Chris Dunn to the spot, but Chris Dunn hits a nice little over-the-top shot of his own, a little left shoulder hook off of the spin. Nice shot from Chris Dunn. H Chicken says Jackson should help with the energy. I agree. He has a more natural motor than a guy like DeAndre Ayton. Zoo stayed back in a drop that time that allowed Luka to kind of keep his man in jail on his backside. He got to that little floater in the lane. Switch Rui onto Harden. He goes under. Jackson then switches. A peel switch from Rui. Rui gets back in front of Zoo. Little handoff to Kawhi. Luka's sagging way off of Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn makes him pay. That's going to be a big part of how the Clippers can make the Lakers pay for their defensive scheme. Little double drag here. That means Jackson's going to roll and Rui's going to pop. Luka gets John Collins on a switch. Great contest from John Collins there. Ooh, little hammy issue there for Jackson. He's okay. They lose John Collins on the back line there. Little left shoulder hook. Nice shot. Good start for the Clippers. I think these are shots that JJ will live with, but they're all going in so far. Way under from Chris Dunn. That leaves a good look for Austin. He just misses it. Rui gets a little midi off of the offensive rebound. 7-7. Mike says this might be the worst NBA cup court. I'm inclined to agree. It's kind of tough to look at. Deep drop coverage there for Kawhi. Nice little backdoor contest from LeBron. Since Jackson was sitting back, Kawhi misses it, leaves it short. Oh, that was a tough pass. James Harden was fronting the post. It was making it a little bit difficult, but Rui gets to his little right shoulder turnaround and misses it. Harden brings it up. He's got Jackson on an early switch there, and John Collins has Austin on a switch. Little transition cross matches. James breaks Jackson off, but misses the shot. Kick ahead to Jackson, beats James down the floor. Just goes right around John Collins and scores. Nice bucket from Austin. Kawhi's got Rui, their strong side zoning. You can see Luka over there. That means the skip is open. They go to Zoo, who's covered. He tries to score through Jackson, just goes right through him. He's given up a lot of weight there. Jackson can struggle with some of these bigger, stronger Centers. Got stuck digging down on Luka there, draws the foul. James Harden is applying quite a bit of ball pressure. Gabe, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us tonight. Mike says thoughts on the potential DeMar addition for the Clips. I don't know, man. I don't dislike DeMar. It just seems like going for another aged shot creator. I mean, this team needs shot creation with Kawhi being out, but like the Clippers have looked very much like a lost cause here early. They looked lifeless on the road in Cleveland 2 days ago. Couple free throws. Lakers up one. Here comes Chris Dunn bringing the ball up the floor. Looks like they're going to be running a little off-ball action for Kawhi, a little pin down with Rui. Rui goes under and recovers. Now he's got Luka on a switch. Luka meets him with some physicality. Nice double team from Jackson. Kick out to John Collins in the corner. Nice closeout from LeBron. Rui beats Dunn, and Dunn hits another tough shot. Game plan execution is solid there. You're going to double Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't handle double teams really well. So that was a little drop coverage red, and Zoo was up at the level. What does that mean? If Zoo gets up to the level, that means Jackson can get behind. Jackson gets behind, and LeBron hits him on the lob. See how Rui's playing James to that right-handed drive? Those are the corner threes I was talking about before the game. Every single one of these Clippers kickouts is going in here early, though. They're making the Lakers pay for their passive or their aggression off of Dunn and off of John Collins. Little stack action. Luka pops out up top and hits the catch and shoot three. Those catch and shoot threes from Luka and Austin are going to be so key to this team and their offensive potential. LeBron switches. See how they're funneling him into that right-handed drive, just like we talked about before the game. Dunn beats Luka, drops it off. Nice recovery from Jackson. Kick ahead to Austin. No real advantage on the break, but Rui's got a decent look out of the corner, passes it up. LeBron, three from the top. Left it way short. Austin, nice rebound. Crosses up James Harden. Whoa, what was that? That was bizarre. Did he hit the side of the backboard or was blocked? Couldn't tell. Easy one for Kawhi in transition off of the left wing. Mike, everyone's pretty much been picking the Lakers up at half court to start the season. They just know the Lakers are known as a team that can fatigue under ball pressure, and that I don't know how they wouldn't call that. Yeah, I don't understand that call. Yeah, that's a 3-shot foul. Well, I guess a 1-shot foul. But yeah, I almost every team I've watched the Lakers play this year have been applying a lot of ball pressure because it's just known as like a little bit of a personnel weakness for them. All right, we got a commercial here. Any questions from you guys? James says when the Lakers go small with Rui on Zubats, the Lakers will go on a run. We'll see. You can see that with the way that Zubats is covering, he's kind of coming up to the level. You almost need a lob threat out there in that 4 out 1 in spacing. I think where it gets a little bit more tricky with Jackson is if they start switching. Because if they start switching, then there's no traditional role. That means Jackson's only value is essentially out of the dunker spot or as an offensive rebounder, which is not going to be as valuable in this type of setting. But as long as they have Zoo kind of running those traditional coverages, I think Jackson's out there as that vertical spacing window in their ball screens. Who or what story has surprised you that you feel like you haven't talked about much on the pod? More like emptying the notebook, so to speak. That is a good question, Mike. Man, I haven't really had a chance to talk on the show about the John Morant thing with Klay Thompson. I've been absolutely amazed. One of the things to keep in mind is like some of these players that have incredible highlight reels. So, like, I've noticed this with Russell Westbrook over the years. I've noticed this with John Morant over the years. When a player has an insane highlight reel, he can build like quite a powerful army of fans, and like they can be a combination of like crazy, passionate, but also a little bit unreasonable. And I was amazed at how many people I saw talking about Ja and Clay the way that they did. And it's just a fundamental misunderstanding of like what it takes to win basketball games. And like, here's the thing: John Morant, certainly, if they played one on one, or if they each had primary shot creation responsibilities on a team, it would be a limitation to have a guy like Clay in that role relative to a guy like Ja. But like, Clay has been the bona fide, legitimate number two option on a championship team. He's been a bona fide number two option on a team that won 67 regular season games. He is the second best shooter to ever play. So he's not a slouch offensively by any stretch of the imagination. And Clay Thompson did more in his role on those Golden State Warriors teams that won 4 championships than Ja has ever done in a winning context ever, even though it's in that number 2 role. And like, again, like I just was really disappointed, not just with the disrespect that Ja showed to Clay, but frankly that the disrespect that so many people that I saw online talked about with respect to Clay, because it's just ridiculous for a player as accomplished as he is. Thoughts on golf? Love golf. Got into it big time during COVID. I One of the things I love about it is the repetition. In the same way that I can go to the gym and listen to music and work on my jump shot and work on like form and muscle memory, I can do the same thing with golf with my swing. But ultimately, when the courts opened back up, I got away from it just because it's impossible to do that and basketball because of how time consuming golf is. Luka one on one against James Harden on the right block. Easy little turnaround over his left shoulder. I will try to get back into golf once my body gives out in some way, shape, or form. But as long as I can still play basketball at a pretty high level, I'm going to give all my energy into that. Well, handoff with Kawhi. Austin goes under, beats Kawhi to the spot. Really nice defense there. Nice dig down from Luka, but he just turns over his left shoulder and scores. Some consistency from the officiating crew, as both of those were called off the ball. Mike says as long as you have a better swing than Braun, you should be okay. The thing that drives me crazy with LeBron's swing is he generates no lag. He's like, it just is very stiff. And for a guy as big and strong as he is, he doesn't generate as much power as he should. But he'll figure that out in time. He just needs to get loose with the club. He'll turn and face over Marcus Smart from Kawhi, misses it. Kawhi still kind of working his way back into a rhythm. We'll see how much of a factor he is tonight. Jackson ball screen, Zoo's in a drop. Harden falls back. Easy one for Luka. Little step back over Harden. All these Harden on Luka reps are really interesting. On the one hand, he's physical in his ball pressure, which makes some sense because he's kind of big and strong to go on Luka. But the flip side of that is like he's just not a very disciplined defender, and Luka's able to get a lot of separation on his last 2 moves. Chris Dunn, another over the top. Missed that one. Jackson, look at see, that's the gang rebounding there. Jackson's battling with Zoo. Zoo kind of beats Jackson, but Austin gets in there and gets the loose ball. Luka nails one off of the left wing from 35 feet. What a shot. Oh my God. Luka's on a heater right now. A little 8-0 run just from him. Mike, here's my thing with that. Klay Thompson talked a lot of shit because he was beating the Grizzlies. He was winning. And then now that he's on a completely different team in the twilight of his career, you want to try to have a moment at his expense. It just comes off as loser behavior, in my opinion. Like it'd be one thing if Clay was still on the Warriors and Ja was on the court and Clay was still in his prime and you were trying to show him up as part of getting him back. But like it'd be like it just doesn't make sense to me to like try to have a moment at his expense at this phase in his career. He's literally a legend that is playing on a Dallas Mavs team that has no shot right now. Top 3 sports movies? That's tough. I don't really watch a lot of sports movies, to be honest with you. I, like, would have a hard time putting that together. Yeah, it says, "Why is Harden guarding Luka without a switch?" I think the idea there is they want someone who has got the size and strength, and James is actually one of the bigger and stronger Clippers, as crazy as that sounds. He's just a big, trunky dude at, like, 6'6", right? But again, we talked about it earlier, I just don't think he's a disciplined enough defender to handle Luka, and Luka's cooking his ass right now. My NBA my NBC stream doesn't have broadcast working, so I'm hearing straight player trash talk at the line. It's awesome. I love hearing the coaches and players talking on the court. I know. Luka too. That's Luka's a little trash talker, I'll tell you that. He's a little bit every game. Who was it that he was getting into at the tail end of the Jazz game the other night? The big dude out of Duke. Do you think the Lakers can trade for Anthony Black since Orlando can't pay him without going into the tax? I don't hate the idea. Like I actually think Anthony Black has quite a bit of upside, and I like the idea of the Lakers going after a big athletic player on the wing. But ultimately, I think he fits into the big picture plans. I think it's more likely that they try to get off of someone like Jalen Suggs than an Anthony Black. Mo Love says golf swing is a throw, not a hit. The craziest thing with golf swing is like the harder you swing, the worse it goes. Like it's so much about like staying really under control. And that's why it can be such a mind fuck because if you get a little bit angry or annoyed at a bad hit or two, you can start swinging harder. And that's when things can really go off the rails. All right. See, that's easy work for Luka. Like he's facing the best perimeter defenders in the league every night. Like I don't understand the idea of having James Harden pick up that assignment. I wouldn't be surprised if that changes after this. Harden gets an and one driving on Marcus Smart. Let him get to his left hand there. That's not good. Got to try to send him back towards that right hand. That's the first time they lost game plan discipline in the first half here. Mike, I thought they looked good against the Clippers, and then the back-to-back where they were down 4 of their top 6 players. That's really tough to overcome in that game against Toronto. I think Garland is just a really underrated player on the team. But ultimately, like, Jared Allen's been out for a few games now. Max Strus is out. Darius Garland's barely working his way back. Like, I'm not worried about the Cavs. They're just trying to find their footing right now from the standpoint of health. Luka misses over the top of John Collins. Marcus tries to stunt in the backcourt, does not come away with the steal. Quick little rush screen from John Collins going right. Marcus is now actually funneling hard into that right hand. Batum's on the court now. Harden deep one off the heel. Luka gets the defensive rebound. Harden is no longer guarding Luka. A little switch, step back three over Nick Batum, knocks it down. Let me see that call again. Luka's been due some positive regression on that step back three. He's been off on it so far to start this season. Coming into the night, he was, let me pull it up real quick. 29.9%, 29 for 97. on his off the dribble threes to start the season. So he's definitely been doing some positive regression there. It's Chicken points out Luka also fries the Clippers on the regular. This is true. It's definitely been one of his target teams here in the early phase of his career. All right, Austin bringing the ball up the floor against Kobe Sanders. Quick switch on to Luka. Now Luka, another pull up three, another one. Wow. He looked over at the Clippers bench like, "This is the guy you're gonna have guard me." Austin on James. Turnover. Great defense there from the Lakers. Starting to get James Harden back going to that right hand and preparing their help appropriately. Luka's in a really good rhythm right now. Kalen says, Jason, you excited for Thanksgiving? I'm excited because I get a little break from work. Like I get to sleep in tomorrow for the first time in a very long time because I typically work out in the mornings on the weekend. And then I'm going skiing on Thursday, which I'm very excited about. Luka draws a foul on the step back three, the natural kind of reaction to all those shots going in. It's gonna be very different Thanksgiving. Like typically I'm either in Tucson or I'm in Texas, where my family will usually go to Texas for Thanksgiving, and my wife's family stays home in Tucson. But now that we're in Denver, we weren't going to go to one of the two places. We're actually going home for Christmas too, so we decided to hang tight, and we're going to do a little skiing on Thanksgiving. Very excited. Keystone is the mountain that we usually go to this early in the season. There's been no damn snow, but then they got like 6 inches of snow last night. So hoping that it'll be packed down and ready to go on Thursday. Mike Banks says, Jason, how much gas do you smoke when you go to your Dead Sphere shows? So you know what's so funny? I've never tried the what do they call them? The fatties, the cold ice cold fatties, I think is what they call them. But they're selling these like the balloons full of gas, and people are taking those things like crazy. I think it's just laughing gas if I remember correctly. But no, I've never personally tried it. That's a staple of the Dead shows is you have the people running around going, "Ice cold fatties," just yelling it out at the top of their lungs, just carrying around a bunch of balloons and a tank of gas. Is there a way I can watch what you are watching? I can't figure this out. So Mike can kind of provide an explanation in the chat, but from what I understand, I believe it gets blocked out because it's a nationally televised game, but I could be wrong about that. Mike, can you give an explanation for people on what might be causing them to have troubles getting the game? What I'll try to do for you guys is I'll kind of announce where I'm at in the stream to see that okay, so the call gets overturned. Good contest, no foul there. I will tell you guys right when the clock starts so you can have an idea where I'm at in the stream if you want to get synced up. They're getting ready for the jump ball right now. Harden just got the ball off the jump. He's just now crossing the timeline. He's got Marcus. Marcus is squared up. Harden gets plenty of separation on the step back three, misses that one. Way off the heel. Tough rebound to get there. Much better game plan discipline from Jake Laravia there, funneling James Harden towards his right hand. Good rotation to John Collins on the weak side. Knocks it down. Maxi Kleba in the game for the Lakers. Yeah, the Clippers have done a nice job, beating the Lakers' aggression with, scoring off the ball, corner threes from John Collins. There's that textbook screen and slip that the Lakers will run. Jake will start underneath. He'll run up to back screen. That triggers the switch. But then once he switches, he's already stuck on Jake's top side. So all he has to do is slip. So he just runs up to trigger the slip or trigger the switch, and then he slips. Easy for him to get out there. Jake loses James over to his left hand there. If you let James get to his left hand, that's going to be a problem. Easy layup there for James. Maxey forces the switch onto John Collins. Step back three. Great contest from John. Just barely missed it. Cleva almost got the rebound. James comes away with it. Harden gets right past to his left hand again. Jake's got to be careful with those left-handed drives. He's going to get killed with those. Nice take from Luka. That was a nice athletic move, powering up through Nick Batum there. See if the Lakers can get a stop here. Kobe Sanders goes into a handoff with Kobe Brown, who then rejects the handoff and gets right by Jake LaRavia, but an excellent contest at the rim from Kleba forces a miss. Kick ahead to Rui. They lost him. Rui didn't quite get his footing, but he does find the angle and scores through Nick Batum. Lakers up by 5. Send him to his right hand. Oh, John Collins runs over Marcus. Marcus draws a little offensive foul there. Here comes Mr. LeBron James back into the game. What a finish. Oh, he made that. Oh my god. I thought that was blocked in the live watch, I couldn't even tell. And then I looked at the scoreboard and I was like, "Shouldn't they be up 7?" I guess that makes sense. There you go. What a finish from Kobe Brown. Drop coverage look, and it confuses Luka. Luka throws a bad kick out pass. Turnover, Nick Batum, wide open 3 on the right wing, pays it off. Great defense, bad turnover from Luka. So one thing I've noticed with Luka that's been a little bit of an issue, he's a little bit turnover prone, and some of his turnovers can be pick sixes because he's coming into these ball screens off the top, which can mess with your floor spacing, like your floor balance, because now all of a sudden you only have one guy above the timeline. See that? See how there's like only Marcus Smart up top? That's a consistent problem you'll run into in ball screens. So if Luka comes downhill in a ball screen and you only have one guy above the foul line and he turns it over, it's almost certainly going to be a 3-on-1 or some sort of like really damaging sequence going the other way. What a shot from Luka. All righty. Kobe Brown, they're going to target LeBron. LeBron, is he going to send him to his right hand? Yep. LeBron's got the game plan discipline. Still gets beat left. Marcus Smart tried to take a charge, but gave up the cut in the process. That's bad defense from LeBron. LeBron's was squared up on James Harden's right hand, but then, or to force him to his right, but then just didn't slide well. Luka, tough step back over the top of Zoo. Ball stays with the Lakers. Luka isolating against Kobe Sanders, draws a double team, gets Marcus Smart on the cut. Marcus smokes the floater. Another kick out. Now the Clippers have a chance to tie or take the lead to end the first quarter. And he hits the 3 over the top of Marcus Smart to give the Clippers a lead. James Harden's been fantastic. Really poor game plan discipline towards the end of that first quarter there from the Lakers. Both LeBron and Jake LaRavia allowed James Harden to get to his left hand. We had a foul on a 3-point shot. Just too many mistakes within the game plan on James in order to keep him under control. James Harden's been cooking for a long time. They got to play better. Um, Kalen says, Jason, what's one sentence of why the Clippers have been so underwhelming? Is it just they're super old or is it something else? It really is just they've been bad on defense. They're kind of in somewhat of a similar position to last year, where James Harden has been carrying a majority of the offensive load to start the season because of the absence of Kawhi, and James has honestly been fantastic. It's just they have not had that same level of overall defensive intensity that they started last season with. Because last season it was they were a good defense and James Harden was good, and it was like allowing them to kind of manufacture wins. This year the defense is bad. Now it looks like James Harden kind of keeps you hanging in there for a while, and then eventually he runs out of gas and the team pulls away. Joey says, concerning that Luka dropped 24 in the first quarter and we're losing. Yeah, I mean, it's super concerning in the sense that they're not executing their defensive game plan. We talked about this before the game. Like, it needs to be funneling James Harden towards his right hand, forcing the kickouts to these lesser players. You got to live with the results on some of these John Collins corner threes, some of these Chris Dunn little quick slashes off of closeout, stuff like that. What you can't live with is James Harden getting cleanly to his left hand for layups and him easily getting to that little step back three going to his right, because you're not attached to his shoulder and funneling him into the lane. Agree with Lonzetti here. Very bad, hard indeed discipline. Absolutely agree. James says, can you talk about Amen Thompson and what his ceiling is and what he needs to improve on? I did a full kind of like deep dive on this in our show today. Actually, we did a breakout clip on it, so you can find that on our YouTube channel. The long and short of it is, though, like, he's kind of got that foundational trait, that John Morant-esque ability to beat people off the dribble and then pop up off the ground in the short range for bits of short range shot making. The ceiling raising stuff is going to be like some of the turnover issues he's had at times of running ball screens, the little bit of additional shot making, like when he's running those pick and rolls on the wing. Like there was one against the Suns last night where Dylan Brooks went way under and he had to like take a little 15-footer. He made that one, but like those little short pull-ups are going to be big too. That are a little bit further away. The spot up threes when the game kind of tilts towards that. Mike just posted the link on the chat if you guys want to see it. Let's see. Have you watched Thinking Basketball's video on the Miami Heat? They've basically set no ball screens this year. I did see it come up on my YouTube algorithm today. I have not watched it yet. We talked about it on the show though. I did a whole thing on Tyler Hero today. Actually, I was corrected on his the pronunciation of his name, but I was amazed when I watched his first game and didn't run a single ball screen with Bam. It was entirely a driving kick style. He did get a couple of wide pin down screens from Kel'el Ware that kind of led to some similar drop coverage types of looks, that he made one of and missed the other, a couple floaters. But everything else was one-on-one, and he was cooking Max Christie just by kind of making initial penetration moves that got into the short range and then popping up off the ground for like little short floaters and jump shots. Laravia gets under on Kawhi. Good work there. Laravia fights over on that screen with Kawhi. Kawhi puts him in jail. Little shoulder bump, easy little 15-footer. That's Kawhi's office right there on the elbow. Ooh, great job jumping the passing lane from Kawhi there. LeBron was trying to hit Jackson, kind of teeing up right over the middle. LeBron got Kobe Brown that time. Kobe Brown tried to dunk that one, not that time. LeBron, nice little two-way sequence, gets a block at the rim and help, and then a hard transition drive to draw the foul on Zubats. As far as like the driving kick attack from the Heat, it's not overly complicated to me. Like the entire purpose of running a ball screen is to get an advantage, right? You want to get the defense to lean one way so that you can generate an opening for someone to attack. So if you can generate an opening through kicking the ball up the floor in transition and quickly driving, or in the half court just by beating your man off the dribble and making a kick out pass, it's a simple way to kind of get the defense to react so that you can generate a closeout. It ultimately it just depends on your ability to actually generate dribble penetration. And the Heat with guys like Davion Mitchell and his dribble drives and Jaime Jaquez and his transition drives and his little post ups, there's just a lot of guys that they have that can break that initial layer of the defense. Here come the double teams like we talked about with Kawhi. Batum knocks it down in rotation though. Clippers by 4. Little ice from Nick Batum. Jackson draws the foul rolling into Zoo. Mike says Batum and Collins have been genuinely productive tonight. That's really the difference in the game here early. The Clippers have been willing to live with Luka's kind of tough shot making, and he's made a bunch, which is why the Lakers have 39 points already. But the Lakers, on the other hand, have been doubling Kawhi and heavily reacting to James Harden's ISOs and pick and rolls, and as a result, there have been some clean catch and shoot looks for guys like Batum and for John Collins, and they've knocked him down. And Chris Dunn has done a little bit of work in the mid range as well, and he hit a three as well. 2 point game. Chris Paul brings the ball up the floor. Got an under switch from Gabe. Gabe fights Kobe Brown for post position. It's going to flow into handoff. Laravia stays attached with Kawhi. Chases him over the top again. Let's see if Kawhi gets into that shoulder bump again. He does. Little late double team from LeBron that Kawhi did not see, forced him into a miss. Again, we saw this in the Denver series last year. Kawhi just does not handle double teams well. Same call there. Surprised they just call one of them or call both of them or call none of them. But we're going to see a lot of those double teams on Kawhi now, just because he doesn't really see them. He just doesn't see him, and the couple of times that he has seen him, he's made like pretty helter skelter kick out passes that haven't been easy to handle. Although Chris Paul did handle that last one to generate the three for Batum. PTY 109718 says, yeah, exactly like the Grizz last year, but they have a better coach and better players, which gives them a higher ceiling. I agree. It made a lot of sense with the Grizz from the standpoint of John Morant's ability to get dribble penetration, but what it did is it put him into more of an advantage creator role rather than a scorer role, and so he didn't like it as much, even though the team was winning. But that's just one of the many signs of little signs of immaturity we've seen from John Morant in his career. Little drop coverage shot for Austin. Deep drop. Got a little bit of separation on the pull up three. Knocks it down. Jake's battling Kawhi. Little handoff. Austin switches. Offensive foul. Yep. Draws the contact in the chest on that little drop shoulder from Kawhi. Turnover. Really nice defense from Austin to start this game. He's been very active. Little pin down for LeBron. Gets him to the elbow. Short jumper. Misses that one. LeBron's been leaving the jumper short tonight. Definitely still starting to work his legs back into it. Chris Dunn slips out. Kawhi, nice poke away from Laravia. Austin's going to get a dunk? No, he's going to take the layup. Lakers take the lead, 46-45. Here we are, 8:43, 42, 41 for those of you guys trying to link up the stream. Chris Paul, the classic little elbow jumper against drop coverage. Decent contest from Jackson there. Just knocked it down. Kaylin, we'll get to your question on the next commercial break. Lakers turn it over. Another ball screen. Jackson, little higher this time. Nice job from Gabe getting under that time. Gets a deflection on the pass. They're going to set it again. Jackson's waiting at the level on that right side. Gets back in front of Zoo. LeBron fouls Batum up top. Got his money's worth out of that one. LeBron has been so bad on defense to start in these first few games since he's come back. Just a little bit slow. You can tell the speed of the game has just been a little much for him. I'm sure it'll just take him a little bit of time to adjust. We got a switch on the ball screen here. So Zoo, look at Laravia battle Zoo into a deeper catch and forces a turnover. That's a big defensive play from Laravia there to force that catch to happen further back. LeBron's very upset about the call there. LeBron's mad because that Kawhi hit happened right in front of the ref. LeBron hits both free throws. Lakers take the lead back 48-47. For those of you guys trying to get linked up in the stream, Chris Paul is just now crossing the half court line. Gabe Vincent squared up with him. They're running a little off ball action to get Kawhi. Nope, it's a decoy to get Zoo. A quick double team from Luka. Baseline cut from Chris Dunn did not get hit. Chris Paul leaves the three short. Lakers get the rebound. Luka's trailing on the left wing. Austin goes for the quick attack on Dunn and beats him with the left shoulder. Look at how he just beat him with that first step and then just got his shoulder into him. Very nice job. Lakers take a 2-point lead. Kalen says, Jason, how will you remember Chris Paul after he retires? I will always remember Chris Paul in a very positive light. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he hasn't made mistakes in his career. He did have a very rough moment against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he has blown some leads in his career. But for the most part, I've just viewed him as like the quintessential initial spread pick and roll player, the guy that could hit all the shots and make all the reads and spread pick and roll. Super competitive defensive player, a guy with a lot of big playoff games. Just ultimately, by the time that he ended up on some rosters that had some real chances, his body couldn't hold up. And I think the saddest version of that is what happened in 2021 when ultimately his body just started to let him down in the finals, even though he was only 4 games away from hoisting the trophy. I've always been very fond of Chris Paul. I look at him as an example of a player that is a championship level player that doesn't have a championship. And so that sort of thing is going to happen. Basketball is a team sport. Only one of the 30 teams gets to hoist the trophy. And, sometimes that's just how it breaks. It's been a combination of some of his mistakes, some of his own team's limitations, then towards the end, his own body letting him down. But I will always remember Chris Paul very fondly. Basketball Reach 511 says, what would you say has been the biggest storyline for the Lakers so far this season? That's a very interesting question. I would say the play of Luka and Austin. Both of them are just way better than they were last year. Luka has been an entirely different tier of player than he was last year. Fat Luka was not anywhere near as capable of breaking that initial line of the defense the way that this version of Luka has been. And Austin has gone from, Austin is averaging just short of a 30-point triple-double to start the season. Let me pull it up real quick because I can't remember the exact numbers. Last year, Austin was 25-6 on 62% true shooting. This year, he's 28-6-7 on 64% true shooting. So like Austin Reeves has taken a bona fide leap. Luka Doncic has taken a bona fide leap. If you ask me why the Lakers are 12-4 right now, it's because Luka and Austin have been unbelievable. And that has allowed them to be a top 5 half court offense, which has allowed them to be 6-0 in clutch situations as they can just consistently get the ball to a really high level offensive player at the end of games. And I would say that if I had to pick one other storyline, it'd be that their defense has been better than expected to start the year. They came into the night 14th in defensive rating and the number one clutch defense in the NBA. And I think that's just a testament to how high IQ their guys are, how good of a job they've done executing JJ Redick's defensive game plans, and their willingness to at least for like a quarter and a half every game, just really tighten the screws, play elite defense, and get the job done. All right. A widescreen for Kawhi. Kawhi gets a really clean look as Marcus kind of peeled off onto the screen and they sat back in a drop. Kawhi misses it. Luke is back in the game. Kawhi taking the assignment. Widescreen for Gabe Vincent. Kind of rushes that one. I didn't think that had much of a chance. Austin beats Chris Dunn on a corner crash. Gets the offensive rebound. Flowing into another ball screen. At the level blitz. Great read from Jackson. Wide open corner three. Just barely leaves it short. Luka pokes it away from Kawhi. Luka kind of got beat on that first attack, but recovered. Great contest from behind. Kawhi knocks it down anyway. Luka gets Kawhi for an and one, and his back pressure just kind of a little bit too close to that left shoulder. How do I feel about starting five being canceled? I was bummed about it. I've really, really enjoyed that the last couple of seasons, but ultimately, the game is the game. It's a business. You got to get a certain amount of viewers, and apparently, not enough people watched it. Mike says Austin's energy has been fantastic tonight. Totally agree. He came out really looking to be aggressive, attacking the basket, and I thought he's been really good. He hasn't been targeted on ball very often today, but he's the handful of times he has been. Excuse me, the handful of times he has been, he's been very good. We have a Heat fan in the chat. The Heat are playing really good. Another win last night. I think they have what 5 in a row now. Heat playing some really good basketball this season. Joey, I'm pumped about it too, man. Should be starting in a couple of weeks. I think it's early December that we start going to 2 times a week. And in case you didn't hear it, we're actually going tomorrow instead of Thursday this week because of the holiday. Good close out from Luka on John Collins. Maxey shows in help. The kick around. Clean look for Kobe Sanders. Leaves it short off the front of the rim. Rebound Luka. He's going to jog it up the court here. Quick little screen from Maxey. Maxey's going to roll. Skip to Austin. Baseline rip. That was tough. Great defense from Kobe Sanders. Austin threw his bag at him that time, and he stayed fundamental. Ball screen. We have an aggressive blitz. Kick back to Maxey. Turn it over. They're going to start blitzing. Keep an eye on that Maxey kickback three that he just made. That was after the clock. Okay. Similar kind of at the level coverage. Zoo. Great cut there from Chris Dunn. Ended up catching Luka a little bit too far in help. A little too much help from Luka there. I thought Maxey had that somewhat under control. Another blitz. Maxey rolls a little too far, catches in the middle, a little short, little foul line jump shot, knocks it down. Nice shot, Maxey. I thought he rolled a little too far there. He needs to hang out a little bit closer to the ball so that pass isn't too difficult for Luka. It's been an issue the Lakers have had at times this year, rolling too far out of their blitzes. Keep letting Harden get to that left hand. It's just not going to work, guys. Luka misses the three. Doesn't get back, but Luka barely recovers in times to stop Chris Dunn. They lose Zoo kind of trailing down the lane, takes a little floater, misses it. Luka gets the defensive rebound. Kleba screen. We'll see the blitz comes again. No deeper drop from Zoo this time. Skip to Rui. Rui racks the closeout, spins over his left shoulder. Easy money. Knocks it down. Nice shot, Rui. Setting up another Kawhi or a Harden Zubac screen. This time they got Rui on the ball. Keep him going to his right hand. Keep him going to his right hand. Good contest from Kleba. Just knocks it down. James Harden has looked very comfortable against this Laker defense tonight. Luka's coming at Kobe Sanders again with the guard screen with the very, very lucky Chris Dunn turned that over because we were about to have another one of those floor balance situations that I was talking about. Similarly, you turn it over against a blitz that far away from the basket, they're going to have a man advantage going up the floor in transition. Hunter, what's up, man? The only other show that I'm appearing on regularly is on Fridays. I go on the All NBA show. That's the one that Adam Mares does with Tim Legler. So Tim Legler goes on Mondays and Wednesdays. I go on Friday, always with Adam, obviously. And then on Saturdays, or I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday, but they have Mark Stein on the weekends as well. Kalen, that's a good question, man. Um, man, I really enjoyed James Harden this time because he was just kind of like funny and open and authentic. I think I would want to see guys that are like good personalities, guys that would actually like showcase who they really are and not feel very performative on the show. Um, I'm not sure, man. That's a good one. I'd have to think about that for a little bit. Daniel, thanks for supporting the show, man. I've really enjoyed these live shows as well. They've been a mix up. It's been fun to like actually get to watch and break down the games as they're happening rather than having to wait until afterwards. Will it be a Laker fan post LeBron? That's a good question. Here's the thing: rooting for this team. I've been rooting for this team like for what is it like? This is the 8th season, I think, if I can remember correctly. So part of the issue is I've just become very ingratiated with the fan base. I have a lot of friends that are Lakers fans. I've done a lot of Lakers content with Lakers content creators, and so ultimately, I'm going to end up having a certain connection to the Lakers just because of how long I covered the Lakers exclusively before I did Hoops Tonight. I did a show called State of the Lakers with Raj Chapalu. And so I've just been covering them for such a long time that I'm sure I'll always remain somewhat close to them. But in terms of my own personal rooting interest, I think that'll fade quite a bit when LeBron retires. Fun little play design out of the timeout. You see, they had LeBron set that cross screen for Rui, which that it kind of reminded me of the play that the Rockets ran to tie the game late against Orlando, where they had Şengün like screen into a quick post up. Similarly, LeBron used the setting of the screen to get really deep position on Harden and then just turned and sealed, and then Luka threw a beautiful over the top pass. LeBron misses the free throw. Clippers push the ball up. Marcus has done a really poor job on James Harden tonight. He keeps letting him get to his left hand. Let's see if Marcus can clean that up a little bit. There he's going to his right. That's tough. That's way out there. Leaves it short. Luka up the floor. LeBron in transition. Pull up three. Got it. Big one from LeBron. That pushes the lead up to 6. Kalen, it is odd, man, but it's just a testament to just how long he's been playing. That's the thing. I don't think anybody. I think everyone knew he'd end his career with the Lakers. They just didn't think it would last this long. Another one, man. The Clippers just keep making the Lakers pay on those kickouts. Drop coverage look for Luka. See how he's got Dunn trapped on his hip. Maxi rolls out. He's going to get a three. Short off the front of the rim. Maxi's got to stop ball. Kobe Sanders really try to attack. No, he pulls it out. LeBron's fronting the post on Zubats. Now Maxi's on James. James hit a step back three on Maxi last time he had him. Let's see what they do this time. See how far they're in the gaps. That's really good defense. Force him to his right hand where he's not as good of a finisher, and then offer help. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, that's a good call. Rafa, it's the curse of talent, man. He knows he can make it. The problem is when you know you can make a shot, sometimes you will. And the step back three is easily the lowest effort shot for Luka. Just requires less on his body. And so that's why they refer to it as settling. They don't call it settling because you're choosing a bad shot. It's because you're doing the easier thing. It's easier to take a jump shot than it is to power the ball inside. Harden on Reeves. Lakers are heavy in the gaps. Clippers got some funky spacing, so they set it into a 4-out, 1 in. Dunn at the top gets a clean look, makes it. They just keep making the Lakers pay. They're knocking them down over and over again. Clippers 10 for 19 from 3 in this one. Adam says Luka scores for points, not to win games. I wish people understood how stupid this kind of thing sounds when he's like 25 years old and he's already made it to the finals and to the Western Conference Finals. Like, I mean, like it'd be one thing if was all he had accomplished before he was like 35, but the dude is 26 years old and is one of the most accomplished winning 26-year-olds in the history of the game. So like you sound silly when you say stuff like that. The Kalen says, "Bro, talking about Luka like he's LaMelo." Exactly. Like that dude was 3 wins away from a championship not even 2 seasons ago. Like from the championship, the basketball championship on planet Earth. Laravia is letting James get to that left hand. Nice little help from Luka. Kobe Brown drives in, makes a left-handed layup. Luka step back 3, knocks it down. Luka has 32 in the first half. Lakers defense just hasn't been good enough to capitalize. Good contest from Austin. LeBron in the transition drive. Hits Laravia on the back cut layup. Nice work from LeBron in transition. Quick little double team of Harden out at half court. Little closeout for Kobe Sanders. He gets into the middle, but then dribbles out, drives at Rui. Rui cuts him off, spins back towards the baseline, and he fouled him. That's a good call. Rui's being too physical there. Snowstorm says if it's a shootout, who wins? The big thing that I'm noticing, like if the Lakers can stop letting James Harden get to his left hand, I think they're going to be okay. Like the Clippers are making every single kick out three off of these double teams and aggressive pick and roll coverages. Like that shouldn't continue throughout the game. They should start missing at least a few of them. It's more just you can't let Harden get to that left hand. And on offense, who's going to be the guy that gets in rhythm off of Luka? Luka's been the only real guy in real rhythm here in the first half. Clean look. Oh, LeBron playing quarterback there. Lakers by 3 at the half. So James Harden looking really comfortable. The Clippers making the Lakers pay for their aggressive coverages with knockdown threes from guys like Chris Dunn and John Collins and Nick Batum. They've let like James has gotten to his left hand a few times for some easy ones. So the Clippers have scored plenty effective. On the other end, just Luka greatness really had the step back three going. It's hard to stop him when he's scoring like that. Let's take some callers during the half here. Bring Mike up.
Jason, how we doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Same stuff, different day, you know.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving week, enjoying the holiday, getting ready for some good food and football, the usual stuff.
Hell yeah, man. I really want to watch that Cowboys Chiefs game, but I'm going to be skiing, so I think I might end up missing that one. We'll see. Um,
Yeah, I mean, look, from a Patriots fan perspective, there's nothing I enjoy more than the Chiefs losing, but that's just me. You know, like like seeing the guy after the goat fail. Absolutely, would love to see it. Come on, shameless, but
I
sure.
have zero faith in the Cowboys defense being able to get stops in that game.
They will most definitely not, but I will enjoy George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Dak having a great offensive day, and we'll see what happens with the defense.
Dude, I picked up George Pickens in fantasy at the
Whew,
beginning of the season. I've never won one of these in-season NFL games, but I
mm,
am first place in all of them right now. I'm in a pick'em league, so I just pick winners every week. A wins
yeah,
league where I picked 4 teams to start the year, and then a fantasy league, and I'm in first place in all of them. I know I'm fully aware of the jinx that I'm applying to myself right now, but I don't know how the hell I ended up with my fantasy roster. But I have Jonathan Taylor and George Pickens and Amon-Ra St. Brown all on the same team. We've been crushing to
dude,
start the season.
I'm in a similar boat. The league I've told you about the fantasy league that I'm in with JT and KD, right? We talked about this?
You've mentioned it on the on these playback streams before.
Yeah, so like that league, I have Gibbs, Taylor, Pickens as my three main offense weapons,
That's awesome.
and then Kelsey. Baker just got hurt, so I need to go get a QB. But we'll see.
It's usually not too hard to find a QB in fantasy.
We'll see. I'm feeling pretty good. Jason, had a quick question though.
Let's hear it.
Looking over some of the pick and roll numbers now, mind you, like we're through 19 games, and I filtered this for. So I did pick and roll man, at least 5 possessions a game. Who do you think leads the league in points per possession? The top name will surprise you.
If I had to guess, so this is individual ball handlers in pick and roll when they're shooting out of pick and roll.
Correct. Now, to be fair to this particular player, he has a smaller sample size, but I
How
just
much
found
smaller?
Yeah, I find it interesting.
How much smaller? How many reps has he run this year?
Let's see. I've got the numbers in front of me. 5 games played, 5.6 possessions. Everyone else is close to double digits. But I think it is indicative of the kind of season this team's having and why they're struggling the way they are.
This is tough. I'm gonna guess. So low volume would, and you said only 5 games played.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Darius Garland, is it?
Benedict Mathurin.
Ben Mathurin.
1.43 points per possession.
That's amazing.
Significantly higher than SGA and Austin. Austin, by the way, at 7.7 possessions and a 30% frequency, 1.23 points per possession as a pick and roll ball handler.
He's been really good, man. He has been fantastic.
It's crazy when you project out for volume. Like CJ's right there as well. Luka, Jamal Murray, Jaylen Brown.
CJ had a great game tonight. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean CJ's had a week, 2 weeks basically that have been awesome. Multiple 40-point games from CJ McCollum. Man, who would have thought?
He's one of my favorite players in the league. That I think is one of those dudes where I would just want him on my team. If he became a buyout guy, there's a dozen teams I'd like to see him on.
I mean, I think he's going to be traded sooner than later, given where that particular team is. I know the contract's kind of big.
He'd be fun in Houston. He'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if we're coming up on December 15th and January 15th for the chat, and for those that don't know, those are the dates when all of the players become available for trade. There's going to be a lot of options. You're going to see a lot of trade slop coming up, but well, settle down over there, buddy. But there's going to be a lot of action in the trade streets this year, given there's a couple teams that need to win, straight up. Like the team we're watching right now, the Clippers are going to need to make a move. I think ultimately they end up at 9 or 10, but they're probably going to need to make a move sooner than later.
Yeah, and there's just no point in them going the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to try something.
And John Collins is the only way you do it, basically.
Essentially.
Because you're not trading CP, and I think they're really in kind of the stark place of you just got to win enough games to get the 10 seed, basically. Unfortunately. Because they don't own their pick. And I think the Pels are going to keep their pick. And then I think Utah is going to be able to maintain that top 8 protection. So I think Will's fantasy of having 3 top 8 picks is not going to happen. But I think that's very dependent on the Clippers figuring this thing out. So
yeah, they're certainly going to be better. I mean, having Kawhi back, just like you guys saw that in that second quarter unit when James Harden was off the floor, they were able to just kind of start spamming that Kawhi Leonard 2-man game, and the Lakers were throwing a lot of doubles at him, but he drew a foul. He ended up hitting a couple of short mid-range jump shots. They're just having that secondary option to make life a little bit easier on James Harden goes a long way.
By the way, as an aside, as I was looking over the pick and roll ball handler for bigs, similar deal with sample size because you get lower possession numbers. But Luke Cornett, again, leading the league in points per possession. Mind you, 2 possessions, 31% frequency, but 1.81 points per possession.
Cornett's been awesome. He's been such a nice fit there. He's just a really good basketball player, man. Kalen, what's up, dude? How are you?
Kalen,
what's up?
How are you feeling as a Knicks fan right now? You're not going to like what me and the Nerd Sesh guys had to say about the Knicks in our contenders video on Friday. I apologize in advance.
I'm I mean, the injuries are one thing, but I'm just pretty. I'm watching like the Pistons going on like 13-game win streaks, and I'm like, this should be us. I'm annoyed that another team in the East is. This is what I wanted the Knicks to do, like take this weak conference with the Celtics out and the Pacers out and all these question marks and just go and play
Beat everybody.
pissed off.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pistons they took last year, the first round loss personally because they played great. And I just why can't that be us? I'm just annoyed.
Says every NBA fan ever that's not a New York Knicks fan for once. Like, it's very funny hearing Knicks fans be like, why can't that be us? Oh no.
All I know is pain.
God forbid. Oh, I know.
All I know is pain. Even the good years are pain. It's just pain. It's just pain.
Yeah, last year's team was like weirdly not fun to watch for as good as they were in the record.
2 years ago was way more fun to watch.
Yeah.
But also it was great to see them lose, so whatever.
And they all suck. It's great. Think about that. At least
hey, by the way, Caitlin, don't rule the Celtics out yet. We're in the words of one of my favorite movies ever, we're just hanging around. You know, we're just hanging around. We're biding our time, my friend. Like, we're still top 10 in net rating right now. How? I don't know. Largely because Jaylen Brown is incredible in the mid range, but like, and Nehemiah Skate has been surprisingly good, but like, there's no reason we should be a top 10 team in net rating, both offensive and defensive, though. I think defense, we fell just outside of the top 10, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's fine.
It's great. It's weird early in the year. The Raptors are 13-5 or 12.
Dude, Raptors are fun.
5-2.
They're so much fun to watch. Jason, how are you feeling about them defensively? Oh, you're muted.
I think you're muted.
I'll give you my take on the Raptors in just a second. I'm putting together a clip for social, so I'll join this. But the long and short of it is I actually like him, but I've always been super high on Brandon Ingram. I just have thought he's a little underrated as a guy that can like 3-level score at a legit level, and he's a really underrated passer in my opinion. And then they're just a good defensive transition team that's got good length and athleticism. They're strong in every position group. I don't view them as like a championship contender or anything, but I do think the Raptors are legitimately good, and I think they'll be competing for home court advantage throughout the season.
They could make the conference finals, genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know that they're going to make the NBA finals, but I think they're good enough to like make it to the conference finals.
You don't think
like, whether or not they lose to a Cavs or Pistons or a Knicks, like I think that's kind of a whole nother thing. But like, that's a good enough team to get there. Personally,
I think they're a little young. I think they'd probably get knocked out by one of the teams you said.
Well, it's so, Caitlin,
I'd probably put Miami over them too.
It's so interesting when you look at some of the preseason stuff because people were worried about Scotty in the preseason because he didn't shoot well, and you look at his overall numbers, and I'm just going to pull these up now while we're talking. While Jason's putting out that clip, hold on, I'm on NBA.com now, so give me a sec. Apologies, this is not great podcasting work. But 19, 8, and 5 on 51% shooting. Like, Scotty's been fantastic. And I wasn't really sure how the defense was all going to fit, but, like, weird things happen when you put a bunch of, like, 6'7" wings all around each other and some decent playmaking, and things start to work,
I think that's the underrated piece of the team in general for Toronto is they have like a lot of like dribble shoot pass talent. We focus so much on catch and shoot, like, oh, can they space the floor? But like, just a bunch of really smart players that know how to like relocate off of each other and when to cut and like how to make the kick out passes and the drop off passes. You can put together a pretty high level offense.
RJ's year has been fantastic too. As Niles is noting in chat, like, I think people came to the year thinking RJ was a definite candidate to be traded, and certainly he still might be. But RJ's year has been really, really good compared to like really his last two in Toronto. And I think a lot of that has been finding proper offensive spacing, but also just like their transition numbers have been fantastic, and defensively they're just getting after it. So they're a fun team.
Yeah, they got off to a little bit of a slow start defensively, but they've been really good since then. Another team I have my eye on, like Orlando, like sneaky for being such an ugly and hard to watch offense for a long time. The last couple of weeks, and this actually, I know people are going to want to blame Paolo being out, but this kind of started before Paolo got hurt. And trust me, I'm not the biggest Paolo fan, but this actually happened before Paolo got hurt. They started passing the ball more and just moving it quicker, more ball and player movement, and their assist percentage like skyrocketed after their 1-4 start, and they have been playing a much more fun brand of offense. They just have a lot of athletes.
And like Desmond Bane is starting to figure this thing out. Like, you know, it's funny what happens when smart basketball players need to take a little bit of time to like figure out the offense, figure out your place in a new environment. It's going to take you 2 or 3 weeks, and he's gotten there. And like, you know, the Celtics have seen the magic quite a bit over the last couple weeks, so I've been able to see it myself. But Desmond is getting there in terms of both the catch and shoot numbers, finding his spacing. Defensively, the energy's really been there, which has been a big difference between like the last 2 weeks and the first 2 weeks in Orlando for him. Like he looked lifeless the first couple weeks, and now he's starting to find a groove, which has been important for them. And Franz is going to get there. Like, I know Franz's shooting numbers still aren't great, but like they'll normalize over the course of the year, in theory.
Unless he plays the Knicks, then he turns into Shea. But Orlando's just a pain in the ass to play any night, and their style of defense and like the talent they have a lot of talent, so they're gonna like win a lot.
Well, they're also Caitlin. They're also gonna pick you up super high, right? Like a lot of teams around the league, similar to like, you know, a lot of the stuff that OKC started last year. Orlando picks up super high, and they get after you on every defensive possession. And they finish possessions really well. You know, they're one of the best rebounding teams in the league outside of Houston. You know, that's because they're going to get after you. And that's without Paolo, who is one of the best defensive rebounding wings in the league.
If they can get Paolo to kind of buy in when he comes back and just keep the engine rolling, they're gonna be really good. I had originally predicted them as the team that would be most likely to get the second seed behind Cleveland, just because I'm such a believer in the talent on that roster. But I'm even more of a believer with them moving the ball as well as they have been to start this season.
Yeah, they're, to me, by the way, I'm just pulling up the overall rebounding numbers, so I want to make sure I keep myself honest here. Wow, they've dropped a little bit in the last week or so. They're down to 14 in total rebounding numbers. They're down to, let's see. They are, 15th in rebounding now. They've dropped a little bit. They were closer to 46. Now they're 45.8, but a lot of that is small sample size stuff at this point. Oh, we're back on.
You're back on. See, Rui's forcing Kawhi towards the baseline. There was no help there. Kawhi should have just ripped.
Jason, what's your take been on Kawhi since coming back? I know it's, once again, a small.
I mean, he's barely played, but I thought he looked just kind of slow and out of shape versus Cleveland. And he, in general, is a guy that's going to take some time to really build his rhythm back, so I'm not too worried about him. Ray, by the way, I see your request. If you hang out, we're going to take another caller later in the show, and I will get you up here at some point, probably at the end of the third quarter. Let's see if the Lakers do a better job of not letting James Harden get to that left hand. There's one of those kickouts. They finally missed one. We talked about that in the first half. That's going to be a big one. They hit like every single one of those kickouts in the first half. A little bit of
the Clippers, Jason, how would you defend Luka given how hot he's been early?
And under there, LeBron, nice little left hand off the glass. That is a nice piece of shot making from LeBron there against the drop. LeBron switches on to Harden. Harden gave up he's funneling left, but they have a strong side zone. See how Austin's waiting? That means the skip. Nice little up cut from John Collins. See how he kind of found that soft spot right there between the foul line and the charge circle. Nice pass from Harden. I would try to force him to skip the ball there instead of giving an easy cut. Austin's got John Collins on a switch. Nasty little left-right crossover. Gets him with the up fake. Woo!
Little up and under from Austin.
Austin Reeves.
He's been adding little things to his offensive arsenal this year.
He's just a bucket, man. There's no way around it. That's too easy. That's the second time Luka's gotten beat on that same cut, just like a little power dribble into his chest. Laker defense has not been very good in this one to start. Luka gets Zoo on a switch, so that's going to be interesting. If they start switching pick and roll to start the second half, Luka's going to see food with the. I don't really like that call in with Luka having the step back three going, because when Luka starts isoing bigs, that's when he hunts the step back three the most, because he can really get into his off the dribble bag. And so
you give him 3 dribbles with a big on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
A hot potato.
Again, LeBron? Another soft banker over Zoo. Wow, Lakers by 8. So this is the thing. If they're going to switch, my thing with the switching is like do that on a night when Luka doesn't have the step back going. Like I would continue to. I think some of their blitz looked pretty solid to start the earlier in the first half. I'm not sure I would go with the switching, but we'll see if that was just a one possession.
Luka's up to 35 and 8 already.
Yeah, pretty good game. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, just 12 of 18, 7-11 from 3, 4 or 5 in line. Only a +6 though.
But he's not a winning player. Remember, that's what that guy said.
He's not a winning player.
He might as well be LaMelo, Luka.
It's really hard to win basketball games. Meanwhile, the Lakers are off to their best start in like a decade, or their best start since the 2020 team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Luka is like the offensive side of the ball. You're never going to question. I think he's like a slightly better defender than people give him credit for. And a lot of that is some lingering 2022 stuff, honestly. And people forget how hard he was in 22. He was banged up with like a hamstring thing. Then he had like a hip knee thing. Like Luka's a little bit of a better defender than people give him credit for. But I think with Luka, it's about like pressuring him off doubles, trying to get him off the ball as quickly as you can, because there's not a whole lot you can do with an elite guy like that. Just like schematically.
Jeffo says he's looking smoother. LBJ, his baby lungs are now teenager lungs.
Ray 29 is right. Luka's reminding him of 22 Luka, and there are elements of that, particularly like the second half of 22 when Luka really turned it on.
So Ray makes an interesting point here. I always worry about players like Luka when they have to drop 40 a night. That's the thing. Like LeBron and Austin are kind of taking a back seat tonight because Luka's just making everything. But that's the beauty of it. If Luka goes 1 for 5 on his first 5 step back threes and the rhythm isn't there, they're just going to work the ball around more. And like that's kind of the advantage is like, you know, if Austin's going to be as engaged defensively as he's been tonight, and if LeBron can get his legs back underneath him on defense, like they're going to have games where they're functioning more as connective players and role players. And then there's going to be games where it's like Austin's got 28 and then there's going to be games where LeBron's got it, you know, and that's kind of the versatility element. Like for all the stuff about the fit between the three of them, my only real concern that I've had has been, I think they need Austin and Luka to knock down their catch and shoot threes. That has been a brutal issue this year. Just like a lot of these sequences end up with Austin catching wide open on the wing and he just hasn't been able to knock it down. And I think having that extra layer of play finishing will make a big difference. Niles makes a really interesting point here. I've enjoyed how Harden and Collins have played together in this game. I like lineups with Harden, Collins, and Zubac share the floor. Harden has a lob threat and then a corner 3 guy and a good cutter. Great point. We've seen him knock down some threes on some of those cross-court passes, but on that last one, just flashes right to the middle, quick catch and finish. That's another form of spacing. Within those 4-out spacing concepts, there's all these like different windows, right? Like there's the baseline cut window, there's the tee-up window, which is the one that John Collins just hit, which is in between the charge circle and the semicircle. Then there's like the corner skip, the wing skip. There's like different cuts off of those weak side spacing situations too. They let Harden get to his left hand again off of the first move. He got beat so clean he was able to get back to his left hand.
For those who don't know in chat, Niles is an AU coach at a Mass. He knows his stuff. I like the comment from Niles there.
Rui beats John Collins on a back cut. LeBron hits him. Nice, strong. You see how hard Rui threw that cut? Niles is doing the Lord's work, teaching our young basketball players. We need We need some more really smart basketball minds that take on that responsibility.
H Chicken brings up the point about Luka and the officials, but I'll just say this quickly on any elite player with officials. That is you ask any kind of like NBA management type about superstars and the officials, and that's just the give and take that you're going to have. Like Luka in particular is the kind of superstar who gets riled up by officials, and like as annoying as it is, that is part of the way that they get going, unfortunately, for better or worse. Is they get motivated sometimes by the call, sometimes too motivated, and that's like a touch and go thing. Good
Lakers
stat.
are blitzing Harden now. Nice little rotation. Kawhi gets to a little right-handed shot and misses it. They call foul. What's the call? What's the call
24
here?
second.
Oh, 24-second violation. Okay.
Didn't give Kawhi the call. I just think it's and Jason, I don't know how you feel about that, but I do think that's a touch and go thing with any major superstar.
What, just the communication with officials?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Luka takes it a touch too far. But I think that give and take and that communication is a vital part of that official star relationship. Ultimately, like, think of it like this. Nice little bucket from LeBron against the soft switch. If you think of it like this, there's going to be, a certain amount of calls every game, and the majority of them are going to involve your star players because they're the ones that are facing
Nice
the more physical perimeter defenders, the aggressive help defense, the the contested rim attempts, all those sorts of things. And so you kind of have to have some amount of communication there. But I think one of the things that Luka will do is he'll occasionally take that a little too far into. He'll take that a little too far into. Oh my god!
That was audacious.
Yeah, LeBron was up there too. LeBron was up there too. It was not a bad pass. Oh my god!
This is some bad hoops.
What are you doing, Rui?
Hey, real quickly, shout out Patrick Branch for the $4.99 super chat.
Yes, really I was going to get to that on the commercial break. Little deep seal there from Zoo, gets an easy left shoulder hook. So Harden hits an absolute bomb. LeBron misses a corner three. They fail to connect on the lob. Rui has a bad turnover in the transition sequence, and then the easy switch bucket there for. And then Jackson picks up an offensive foul. So the Lakers are trying to toast off this 10-point lead in a matter of minutes.
Good luck. Putting Luka on Zoo's a choice.
Yeah, I think it was a switch. But
yeah.
But yeah. LeBron on Harden. Letting him get to that left hand with a strong side zone. Oh my God.
Jesus. Jackson Hayes. Clip that. Holy hell.
That was fucking.
He's got some great highlights this year. He really does.
Got it right at the top of the mountaintop.
Right at the top, yeah.
Harden won the goaltend.
Kawhi gets a clean look and leaves it short off the front of the rim. Harden's still guarding Luka. See if he just goes to the step back or a quick attack, and he does. Smokes the floater, complaining for a foul again. I think he just takes it so far to where like it's almost impossible for the ref to not take it a little bit personally. Harden's going to go step back here on Jackson. No, left to right cross.
Woo!
It's in the lane for an easy one. They have been hopeless to guard James Harden tonight.
And they're not getting the defensive assignment correct.
The one thing I will say is James Harden's been basically frying everybody for 3 weeks now. But
yeah. Harden has been pretty efficiently going for like 35 a night, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Austin
misses the little pullback dribble on John Collins, and Clippers have a chance to tie here if they get a three. Little left to right move on Luka. Another deep seal for Zoo. I would just double.
And one. Ooh.
Easy work.
Probably could have gotten the M1.
9-0 run for the Clippers to respond to the Lakers run there. Not good, guys. Nice work from James Harden. I mean, like, say what you want to say. He's just toyed with the Lakers tonight. He's absolutely torched them. What's Harden's stat line at right now? Let's check it.
I've got it right here. So Harden is. I hate the new ESPN format. It's really frustrating. 23, 8 and 4, 8 of 17 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line. in 24 minutes. He's a plus.
And only one turnover with all the action. He's +4 in his minutes so far tonight.
Yeah, Kobe Brown at +10, surprisingly. About the best plus minus for the Clippers tonight. But quickly, to Patrick's comment.
Patrick, thank you for the super chat, my friend. And thank you for supporting the show. I generally agree. I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is LeBron, over the course of the next 2 months between now and late January, is either going to show that he's very clearly on the downslope and that there's not much upside worth trying to tap into here, or by 2 months from now, he will still be healthy and still playing just most of the games, and he's going to look like a dude who is a like all NBA level player. And I think that's where it becomes more complicated for the Lakers, because if LeBron's an all NBA level player, there's no guarantee the next time you'll get an all NBA level player next to Luka. And so at that point, I think you start venturing into some more aggressive type of trade scenarios that could involve some higher risk type of moves, like a first round pick being included, or going after a player that's maybe a little bit older rather than sticking with someone in their mid 20s. You know what I mean? So like, I think ultimately LeBron is going to be the barometer of how aggressive the front office looks to be when they get to February. But I generally agree that if LeBron looks like LeBron, you have to try to capitalize on it. Simply because of the fact that like there's no guarantee that you'll have this talented of a roster anytime soon.
What does that move look like? Like in terms of,
it's a first round pick for a role player is what that role moves like. I think if they don't, I think if I know anything about this Laker front office, they're if it's not a team that looks like they're that close, then I think that they're going to prioritize their draft trove towards the next superstar type of move. Whether or not that's dumb, that's a conversation we can have another time. But like the gist of it is that I don't think that they would make a first round pick for a role player type of trade unless they were pretty sure they were going to have a chance to win.
So that type of player ideally would be like a Herb Jones, but that would likely require like 2 first round picks.
Herb Jones to me is more in the mix for like legitimate foundational piece. So like for him, Andrew Wiggins to me would fall into the like hyper aggressive, we're trying to go for the championship type of move. Like if LeBron looks like an all NBA player and Andrew Wiggins is available in late January, early February, that's where it gets more complicated, because you're like, yeah, he's older. Yeah, it might take a first round pick, but like, man, like he could really vault them up a level. Herb Jones though, like if you can get Herb Jones for like 1 first and just essentially salary filler plus like Dalton Connect or something like that, I think you got to make that kind of move, because Herb Jones, Austin, and Luka is just an awesome foundation. And then you can start looking at like specifically targeting vertical spacing big in the draft or something along those lines. Chris Dunn, Zubac's doing damage on the offensive glass. Chris Dunn missed a 3. That's the Clippers are starting to miss some of those wide open catch and shoots off of action. Clippers have all the momentum now, right now though. Like Luka's starting to settle for some tougher ones. He's not making them, and Laker defense still really struggling to control this Clippers attack.
The only thing I'll say on the Pels is, for those who haven't seen some of the on-the-ground reporting, my guy Shemit over in the NO has done a bunch of incredible reporting over on his Substack on the Pels and kind of how Troy Weaver's taken over the org. Would highly recommend going reading that to get a better understanding where the Pels are.
Luka on Kawhi. Now Rui on Kawhi after the switch. Rui slides his feet well, gets a great contest. Tough shot. That's a tough bucket. Clippers take the lead. Completely flipped this game after Lakers went up by 10. Chris Dunn on Austin, way high, makes a beautiful feed. What a feed to Maxey. Just really nice defensive recovery from Zoo there.
Clippers defensively have been awesome this quarter.
Yeah, they have. A little bit of a 3-on-1. Nice tack from Austin. Gets into the lane. It gives the lead back to the Lakers. See if the Lakers can get a stop here. Harden drives left, right at Luka and picks up the foul.
If that's 2 years ago, you think Austin passes that ball?
Maybe. I mean, Austin's always been pretty aggressive. Austin has been known to call his own number.
Mm.
It was the right read there too. No one stopped the ball. You gotta go.
True.
Kawhi, quick little ISO against Marcus Smart, hits the face-up jumper. Clippers take the lead again. Clippers really in a groove on both ends of the floor right now. Lakers are going to have some work to do to get back in control of this game. Ball screen from Maxey. They blitz. Draws the foul.
Kawhi 2 for 5 in the quarter, but his presence on the defensive end has been immense. That's just a beautiful shot.
That's the bread and butter for Kawhi, that little face-up jumper. Getting a rest for him to come in when Harden checks out.
Is he on a minutes restriction, Jason?
I don't know, but I would imagine so. John Collins is basically funneling Luka. There's your blitz. Luka's grifting for fouls and messing around with the sideline instead of getting back on defense. This is probably going to end in a wide open shot for somebody. That was
stripped it.
What a bizarre play from James Harden. Chris Dunn was literally standing right there next to him, wide open.
He had a wide open corner, like wing 3.
Yeah, and James Harden just stood there and let the Lakers run up and take the ball away from him.
Yoink.
What in the world was James Harden doing there? That he's been phenomenal tonight, but that was an absolutely bizarre play.
Oh, man.
And look, Luka commits a turnover, comes back, and creates one on his own.
Yeah, with some assistance.
You know what? Like, give him at least some credit for the defensive effort, you know?
Solmir says AR never misses a layup. You're absolutely right, my friend. He is 43 for 60 this year, 72% on layups, which is like absolutely crazy for a guard under 6'5" with his athleticism.
I think they're going to review this for a transition take foul.
That one ref is just like blocking the screen there. It was interesting. Hunter says, think the Lakers can afford to give DeAndre Ayton a deal this offseason. A lot of it's going to depend on how well he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, one of the things that DeAndre's been doing that doesn't do himself any favors is anytime he gets any sort of like slightly dinged up whatever, he just sits out.
And the other thing for DeAndre, and this is kind of like deep diving to CBA stuff, so I don't expect everyone to necessarily know it, but like he gets another 2 years added onto his deal, he'll get his bird rights reattached, and then he can really try to make a move long term if he wants to stay with the Lakers. But he feels like a more temporary.
The thing too with Ayton is like, I think if some stupid team comes in and throws him some sort of massive contract, then yeah, I mean, I could see him leaving. But I don't think some stupid team's going to come in and offer him a massive contract. And so I think what's going to end up happening is the Lakers and Ayton will agree to some sort of like relatively discounted long-term deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in the best interest of both parties. For Ayton, it's like you need to play in a system like this where you're basically weaponized as a roller where you haven't been in years past. And he needs some long-term security. And the Lakers need a starting center. So, but we'll see.
JJ unhappy with the explanation from James Gucci Williams.
All right, let's see if the Lakers can get a bucket here. Only 16 minutes left in this game. A little horn set. Austin comes off the handoff from Maxey, gets James caught on his hip. Really nice save there from Maxey. Rui one dribble pull up. That's in his wheelhouse. Missed it, but little scrap from Austin knocks it away from Nick Batum. Marcus Smart puts it back up and in.
Marcus Smart in a Lakers uniform hurts my heart, but it is what it is.
We get a blitz. No, we get switch. Marcus rotates back. Ooh, nice little piece of defensive playmaking from Luka. Just didn't quite get his footing.
How do you feel like the Marcus experience has been in the Lakers uniform? I know he's had some injury stuff.
I've enjoyed everything about him with the exception. I think Lakers fans want him to start and like Sure, if you think he should start in the short term while you're waiting for the whatever inevitable deal comes down the line, that's one thing. Excuse me. But to me, he's too flawed to be like a super, super high minutes player for this team. Like, if he takes a catch and shoot three, I don't think it's going in.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah, and
Live
but I
that
mean,
for
he's been a
nearly a
very
decade.
valuable player. Is just like a guy who just does a lot of little things for them on both ends of the floor. Boy, Luka has gone ice cold here. Zegwood says, "I'd like to hear your real thoughts on Ayton. To me, that dude is a mid-bottom tier center. To me, he's very much like wow."
Luka's 1 for 5 in the quarter with at least.
And all he's doing is
turnovers.
bitching at the refs. Like, just fucking lock in, dude. Lock in, dude. With Ayton, I've just kind of viewed him as like a guy who like kind of goes with the personality of the team. When they're playing against bad teams and they're playing like lackadaisical basketball, he looks like bad and disengaged. And in the games where everybody comes out kind of guns blazing, ready to go, he kind of just buys in and gets on the train with everyone else and can be really impactful. The talent level is undeniable, and I think that's shown pretty clearly in some of his big box score games. I thought that was a bad, like Luka's got to create an easier passing window, and then Marcus just threw a bad pass. Like he threw it into a place where Luka wasn't going to be able to get to it anyway.
You think JJ's just letting Luka play at the quarter, and then they'll go to the
yeah, they'll play. That's usually what they'll do. They'll let Luka play out the quarter, and then Austin and LeBron will lead the early fourth quarter unit.
Is it frozen for you guys too?
Yeah, is that a glitch? Oh no, we're good.
We're good. We're good.
Little production glitch. Went to a different camera angle.
Mm-hmm. I was like, League Pass, did you fail us?
Luka against Kobe Sanders out front. There he goes. Be aggressive. Go to the damn basket. Stop putting it in the hands of the refs. Find a way to score. That's what we need Luka to do. Very nice job there attacking Kobe Sanders. The slowdown step ends up drawing the foul.
For those of you on YouTube who are watching the game with us and want to watch inside the playback either app or on the desktop, go to playback.tv/hoops tonight. Connect your League Pass. You can watch immediately.
Can you do that with a nationally televised game, though? Because I was having some trouble doing that on my laptop earlier.
Yeah, it can get a little funky with national TV games. You know, there are some workarounds for it internally, but like for the audience, it can get a little tough at times for national games.
Maxey doing a nice job funneling to the right hand. There's John Collins again. What's the call? Oh, they got him for running over Marcus. Big call, too, because that was going to be a dunk. Look at Marcus just sitting. So they funnel him to their right-handed drive, and there's Marcus waiting. They might challenge that. That would be a good 1-2 challenge because Marcus was kind of sliding to his right. And here we go. They're going to get the challenge. This, I think, might get overturned. Marcus is sliding to his right, and it's a good value challenge because you get the Lakers were going to have possession, and instead you're going to get 2 points.
That is a classic Marcus Smart play if I've ever seen one, though. Like, I flop here, but I'm going to try to win the possession.
Yeah. I think this is going to get overturned. We'll see.
I think it does, too.
Big call, too.
It's weird watching it from the other side of it because, like, as a Marcus Smart fan and understanding how much he meant to the city of Boston and, like, there's a whole bunch of off-the-court stuff that most people don't know about Marcus. You know, oh, yeah, that's a block.
Yeah, it's
like,
a block.
For those who don't know, Marcus has a childhood cancer foundation because he lost a family member to childhood cancer. Just a genuine dude. But it's always weird watching him in another uniform because I'm like, I should hate this. But at the same time, I'm personally rooting for the guy constantly.
Rui's a little slow on the rotation there. You got to force that into being a catch-and-shoot three for Kobe Sanders. Once again, Lakers looking pretty hopeless guarding James Harden tonight.
I mean, you could say that about most of the league guarding James Harden lately, but yeah. He has been on one. What would you diagnose as, like, I know someone asked in chat earlier about the Clippers' general issues, and I said, being old is the main thing, but like,
They're the
what would you
25th
actually,
ranked defense in the league. Like last year, they were an elite defense. To me, it's really that simple. It's just such a big drop off there. And what's
you think they
crazy
can
is it's
actually make the playoffs?
most of the same personnel. I mean, Derek Jones, I know, got hurt recently, but but even when he was playing, they weren't very good.
Yeah, losing DJJ is tough.
James Harden's last 8 games, 34 points per game, 7 rebounds and 8 assists. Shooting 39% on 11 threes per game.
Oh, that sucks. They're saying because the whistle was blown when the ball was in the air, basket doesn't count, side out.
That's stupid.
Whoa.
That's
Just
so
give
dumb.
him the dunk. Just give him the dunk.
That's so dumb.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Whoa.
I mean, what?
That's crazy.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be side out. I misheard that. My bad.
I guess it makes sense if it was a blocking foul before the pass and they're in the penalty.
Yeah. While we got a moment here, Jason, is there any rule that you would change? Like big picture rule? I know you guys talked about this on All NBA, I think a couple weeks ago.
Really aggressive towards the rim from Luka these last couple of possessions. He got an and one there, an easy little drop off for Marcus Smart. That's a good one. Let me think about that for a minute. Little handoff now. LeBron's on John Collins. Here comes our ball screen with Harden. Smart's funneling him to his right hand. There's LeBron waiting on the switch. Here comes the step back. Nope, they help off and force. What in the world?
I don't know how he got that off in time. They might review that.
I don't know if he got it off in time, but it's very, very close. Let's see if Luka keeps attacking. Those attacks have been working. There it is. When Luka he's been doing this in the last couple of games. In the late third quarter, he finally goes like, all right, I'm done taking step back threes. I'll start driving. And then he just looks unstoppable.
Luka's last 3 minutes, he's been on one.
Very good, yeah. LeBron on Harden here. Let's see if he can get a stop. Harden's going to probably try to set up the step back. Good D from LeBron. Good physicality. And picks up the foul.
And just turned it over.
Nate says, Jason, what do you think of the idea floating around the home drafted players could count less towards the salary cap so that teams could keep their own players, not get punished for drafting well? I agree in general. The one team that would make something like that complicated is a team like Oklahoma City. What if you trade? Because then all of a sudden a draft pick becomes immensely valuable because you can pay that player. Luka finally settles and misses.
As a Celtics fan, I would have loved that rule this summer. It would have been great.
Yeah, no
Would have loved that.
No, it's great. It's good that you had to shed salary.
Luka gets toasted on the backdoor cut. That is such bad defense. So a couple of Luka mistakes here that undid some of his success from earlier in the quarter. Get back to attacking. If you're tired, just give it to LeBron, dude. Marcus Smart, corner 3. Bucket. Big shot.
Made that one.
Shot, yeah. Lakers need to get a stop. See, I think we're gonna get a James Harden pull up 3 here pretty quick for the 2-for-1, like right now.
Oh, late call. I wonder if JJ tries to review this one.
Let's see what happened.
Pretty late call. 50-50 bang play.
That's tough. That's a tough
They're
call.
going to review it.
Yeah, that's a tough call.
Sometimes I'm right about things.
I don't see the point on Luka just randomly ignoring Kobe Sanders when Kobe Brown has the ball. Like, what are we doing? You're basically just gift wrapping 2 points to them.
Side note, we missed a Kobe to Kobe reference there. That would have been great on that play. But you know what? We'll have another opportunity.
Yeah, I was thinking about early in the game. I'm like, the Kobe's have checked in.
Sorry, chat. That's on me. I missed that. Sometimes as a color guy, you have an opportunity, you just miss it. I think this is like one of those calls that I understand why you make it. I don't know that I would necessarily challenge though.
I think a counter, Nate, is what if we made it so that it was only your own draft picks? So, like, if you acquired a draft pick in a trade, then that pick would not be capable of avoiding the salary cap rules. I think that would be
so. So if it's like a pick swap, for example, you wouldn't get the benefit of the CBA.
Yeah, if you actually made a pick with your own draft pick, then that should count towards that like theoretical situation where you get a favorable pick. Did they uphold the call, it looks like?
They upheld the call.
Yeah. James Harden's just so hard to guard when he's playing like this because you essentially are going to pick up a foul if you apply any sort of physical ball pressure to him. And that was what made him so hard to guard in like 2018, 19, 20.
Real quick, just as a quick little bit of housekeeping, the Kobe Sanders jumper did not count 24-second violation on that.
Got it. Okay.
Which is why the score has changed.
Well, James is going to try to get those 2 points back right now.
Marcus and Luka, not happy with these officials.
And that's fine, but like focus on the damn game. Like there's been too much of that kind of extracurricular BS in the mistake make. There's been a lot of mistakes made that have nothing to do with officials.
2 for 1 here. If you want to go quick or no.
Too late now. Got to get a good shot. Got to get a good shot and then a stop. LeBron on the slip and one. There's that same exact action we were just talking about earlier with Jake LaRavia. Run up, set the screen. That forces the switch, but now you have inside position. Just slip out of it. Luka hits him, draws the foul.
LeBron is old as me, but he's still out there making back cuts. Man.
We'll see if the Lakers can get a stop here. And then I'm going to have you guys, is Ray still here? Yeah. I'm going to have you guys hop off if you don't mind so we can give Ray an opportunity to cut and talk. And then, Ray, I'm going to call you up as soon as we get a quick blitz at Harden. Nice ball denial from Marcus. 2 seconds left, 1 second left, turnover. Good defense from the Lakers to get a stop there. But it was good to see you boys. And then, Ray, I'm just going to cut up this quick social clip, and then I'm going to call you up. So just give me 1 moment, okay?
Yep, I'm going to drop Kalen. I'll probably see you later this week. We'll reconnect over on the bit. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Mike Weisberg. I have a channel over here on Playback called the NBA Bit. I'll link it in chat. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Can you hear me? Hold on, my settings are screwed. Uh, I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
That's my fault. That was my fault, man. I had myself
Okay,
muted.
okay.
How's it going, man? Are you a Lakers fan?
No, so I'm actually a Warriors fan,
Right on.
but since the last 3 seasons have been kind of depressing, I have started focusing on basketball in general.
Right on. That's always that's a
And
good move for the soul when that sort of thing happens.
yeah, I mean, I've also been getting older, so some of those late teens, early 20s energy and lack of open mindedness has gone away. So I just really like watching basketball. And obviously, so I found your channel through Colin Cowherd, and then I just watched a lot of your videos. And then there's some other creators like Tim Legler has his own podcast, and there's some other podcasts that I've just started watching a lot. So I've learned a lot about the game, and as such, I just like to follow.
Yeah, it's awesome. Once you kind of that's really the beautiful thing about basketball is that once you kind of gain an appreciation for how one team does things, you can gain appreciation for how all the teams do things. And like I found that like each season there's like a different team that I end up really enjoy watching for one reason or another. Like a couple teams like that this year have been like Toronto, Miami, Philly even has been a little bit fun to watch. Um and again, like that it'll help you just handle that like up and down of an NBA season, especially like what if Oklahoma City just starts kicking everybody's butt for a few years? We better find a way to enjoy watching other teams play or we could be in for some long seasons, right? All right. Just got that clip tweeted out. But thanks for supporting the show, man. I think it's cool that you found us through the Coward Pod. That obviously it's been super cool to get to work with Colin over the years at various points, but more than anything else, it's just awesome exposure for us to get to be to get our show a little bit of that taste of the Colin Coward fan base and get to the opportunity to try to gain some new listeners from them. Couple free throws from Austin, a chance to push the lead up to 8 here. See if the Lakers can get a stop. These Austin LeBron units to start the fourth quarter have done a lot of damage over the years. Gabe on Chris Paul, trying to set up something for Kawhi. Now they're cutting Kobe Brown through. Here comes Kawhi off that little elbow catch. Nice defensive rotation from LeBron. Forces the miss. Did he get the rebound? No. Zoo gets it and puts it back. Nice battle from LeBron, just not quite enough. Quick brush screen. LeBron gets the switch on Zoo. Let's see if LeBron can beat the switch. He's going to go to the left to right crossover, drop off to Jackson, layup. Nice work, a nice little bit of shot creation from LeBron on the switch. Lakers by 8. Quick screen from Batum. Austin's on Kawhi. Deep drop. Let's see what he goes to. That little shoulder bump jumper. In and out. Lakers can't get the rebound, but Zoo hit that out. It should be Laker ball. Zoo hit that out. All right. Trying to run that little off ball action for Austin, flowing into the screen with Jackson. Jackson's going to dribble at Laravia now. Back to Austin. Austin skipped to LeBron, weak side three. Boom! Big shot. Lakers by 11. 10 minutes to go. Beautiful piece of shot creation from Austin there. Got a little bit into the late clock, but made a beautiful kick out read. Laravia switches on to Chris Paul, gets cleanly beat. Wow, that can't happen. Very nice drive there from Chris. Just caught Laravia sitting too high on his left-hand side. Nice little downhill attack from Austin. He draws a foul. He's got a chance to push it back up to 11. Those catch and shoot threes from LeBron, like I was talking about yesterday on the show, when it comes to open catch and shoot threes, Rui and LeBron, I feel like, are the two guys in the starting lineup that are like knocked down. Blitz of Kawhi. Weak side is open. They don't get it over there quick enough, though. Kobe Brown ends up slipping. Jake Aravia attacks the basketball, almost forces a turnover. They get a timeout. Big call there. Aiden says, Thunder fan here. How would you see a Lakers versus Thunder playoff series? How would you see that series playing out? I don't think it would look as bad as it did a couple weeks ago when the Lakers got absolutely dog walked by the Thunder. Their stars just played so poorly in that game. But at this point, I think if you picked anybody against the Thunder in a playoff series, it'd be pretty wishfully thinking. Even Denver, who I think is better than the Lakers. So I just think the Thunder are playing some really special basketball. They've got a lot of like internal improvement that's been there's some patented internal improvement stuff that we've been expecting from them, like Chet's offensive leap, a little bit more of the refined game management from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, AJ Mitchell turning into a bona fide secondary creator. There's just so many different things that are going OKC's way. That doesn't mean that the Lakers can't get there. I mean, if LeBron can get back to an all NBA level, that would certainly go a long way. Mike posted a picture of or video of I'm gonna pin it for you guys here if you want to see it. But good to see Jason Tatum doing his sidestep threes, getting that little bit of rhythm back. Nate, I did not see the Aiden video. If you want to find it and pin it in here so I can see it, I'd be happy to check it out. I think you can just grab the link and then drop it in the chat. Niall says this is a great game. Yeah, we're gonna get Harden's gonna have something else to say before the end of this one. I would not be surprised if we ended up getting a much closer game down the stretch. Ray, I think Detroit should wait on the Anthony Davis thing. I don't understand. I feel like that would be cashing in too early. They don't have like the surplus of assets like a Houston to be able to afford to make a move like that and still have plenty to give. My favorite random, like hold your ears, Kalen, but my favorite random AD trade right now is just AD for Cat straight up. I weirdly think it helps both teams because, Cat is healthier and can play alongside Derek Lively as a legitimate kind of like too big look. We saw that work in Minnesota, and then it's the perfect talent play for a Knicks team that just doesn't seem good enough to get a guy in Anthony Davis who's flat out better. Ray, I think Detroit should go after Michael Porter Jr. That's the guy that I think if they got him, that would change my calculus with that team and their ability to win the conference. Lakers force a turnover on the inbounds. LeBron down the lane, spins, little short right shoulder fade, just left it short off the rim. Good tap out from Jake. That's a big play. Jake's had a rough game, but that was a big play from Jake. LeBron on Kawhi one-on-one. That's tough. Woo! That is a tough piece of shot making from LeBron. That little wedge pick and roll thing that they've run a couple times with LeBron coming off Jackson. He's hit 2 mid-range jump shots off of that. Nice dig down from Jake. Oh, led to an open three for Batum. He missed it. LeBron gets a rebound. They push out to Gabe on the left wing, kick ahead to Austin. LeBron trailer three. Big shot right there. Oh, left it short. Good rebound from Jackson. Big time play. Oh, what they call here. Ball stays with the Lakers. Wow. Lakers really active here, starting to pull away. What a back cut and what a pass from LeBron into such a tiny window, and Austin catches and finishes. Lakers by 15. This is going to be tough. Like, this is that path. If Luka's going to turn up his rim aggression in late third quarter situation, we'll get into that more when we get into the post game reaction. But man, like this, the Lakers are just such a tough team to handle in that late third, early fourth stretch when they really start to tighten the screws and their shot creation goes up a level. Dunk it. What a block from Zoo. Harden's already back in the game here. Let's see if the Clippers can try to make a run. Koopa says great effort on the boards. I agree. Most of the night, they've actually done a pretty solid job. I'll pull up the offensive rebound numbers, but I think they battled pretty well there. Blitzing Harden. Good foul from Austin to at least force Zoo to make the free throws. Yeah, Clippers only have 5 offensive rebounds. Lakers did a good job battling on the glass. There's a beautiful skip to Austin. There's those catch and shoot threes. Those are the ones they have to make. So we saw a traditional coverage, 2 at the level. They tag the roller from that weak side corner with Austin. Luka trusts his teammate on the skip pass. Austin knocks it down. See, watch Dunn come over to tag. There's your skip. Beautiful feed. Those are those catch and shoot 3 sequences that the Lakers have to pay off with makes. Austin, big shot there. Nice finish from Kawhi. LeBron was kind of like 3-quarter fronting, and they just kind of moved the ball around to get a pass on that inside position. And yeah, the blitzing of Harden to just not let him be the guy that determines the possession there. There it is again. Austin racks the closeout, gets a bucket. Wow. Austin attacking off the weak side with an advantage. Easy catch and shoot 3. Racks a closeout, gets a little mid-range. It's just really hard to guard this team when they're in a groove like this. Really balanced scoring tonight too. Luka has 39, but Austin still got to his 25, and LeBron's got 23. And LeBron was pretty rough on defense in the first half, but I thought LeBron was very good defensively in the second half, although he lost Kawhi there in that last little bit. Kalen says there are many ways to build a team through trades, drafting well, accumulating assets, or just be the Lakers and have superstars willingly come to your team. Ray says, I don't know how you stop the Lakers if the big three give you like 80 points. And that's really the thing. If they can find that equilibrium to where all three of them can stay in a rhythm and punish teams, that's where they're going to be really hard to beat. Some positive regression from three overall, the Lakers tonight. They're at 13 for 26. Sorry, guys, I'm pulling up some stats. I'm curious to see the net rating differential for the Lakers when they get into the second half. So obviously the Lakers have the 14th best net rating in the NBA. But if you put it to the first half, that goes to 15th. Is that going to be any difference at all? Let's see. The Lakers have been the 7th best net rating in the second half. So they have a much stronger net rating in the second half. They're outscoring teams by 5 points per 100 possessions in second halves. And let's try just taking it to the fourth quarter. They're the 6th best net rating in the fourth quarter. They're outscoring teams. They were +5 in the second half. And I think they have one of the best clutch net ratings in the league. Let's see. 3rd best clutch net rating, outscoring teams by 30. All right, quick foul. Gabe Vincent on James Harden. James Harden looks pissed off. Did they bang knees? Zoo out front, a little trying to set up that wide screen for Kawhi again. Harden hits him a little low on the pass. Jackson leaves his feet. Good help. There's a great contest from Luka. Just tip the cap to John Collins. It's a nice piece of shot making there against the contest. John Collins has been great tonight on those weak side kickouts. John Collins has just been great tonight in general, to his credit. Luka blitzed again. Draws a foul. There he is again, the same at the level. There's Austin scoring as a cutter on the baseline there. Good contest from Gabe. Nice piece of shot making again. The Clippers keep making the Lakers pay on that. Rui on the baseline cut. Wow. Lakers have done some really nice job capitalizing on the aggressive coverages against Luka, the full court pressure, the blitzes, the at the levels. Rui's up on James, funnels him to that right hand. The skip goes to Dunn, is a little low. Rui rotates. They lose Harden in the corner, leaves that one short. That was off of Luka. I'm just surprised they didn't call it over the back. Jackson's been sneaky good at those like additional reads in the middle of the floor there. Made a couple really nice ones here. Luka Jackson 2-man game again. This time they go back to the deep drop. So like what's that? That's the adjustment, right? And Luka misses it, but they keep beating the blitz. So then they have to go back to guarding the action 2-on-2. That's a bad foul from Luka. That's clearly a foul, Luka. Kalen, I think JJ's game plans, his defensive game plans have been really good. I think that's been a big part of their success too. I don't know why Lucas is arguing that that's not a foul. Lake Show Lars says, Jason, talk to me about Herb Jones on the Lakers. How's the offensive fit? I think the offensive fit would be fine. He's a good catch and shoot player. He's added a little bit of off the dribble bounce over the time that he's been in New Orleans. And I think he's plenty good offensively to be valuable in the sense that he's one of the best kind of like swing defenders in the league, ultimately. Lakers closing with no center here. Difficult pass to catch there in traffic. Got to get back and get a stop. This game isn't over. It's only 12. LeBron gets back. They lose. What a rotation for Marcus Smart to block Zoo at the rim. Oh, man. Luka just a step slow again. I think that's a good call. All right. Little dig down from the corner that draws the foul. Luka's going to be shooting. Lake Show Lars says, start the fourth quarter with your best player on the bench, and you still got LeBron James and Reeves on the court. That's ultimately the thing that makes them so difficult to deal with. It's just every single lineup they have has a ton of offensive talent on the floor. Luka getting some MVP chance after a 40-point night. Kobe Brown drives on Rui. Skip over to Chris Dunn. Nice wall up from Jackson. Good box out. Got to get the rebound. Scrap in there. It's going to stay with the Clippers. Little left shoulder hook. That's easy money there for Zoo attacking Jackson. Whoa. Uh-oh. Here we go. Nobody do anything stupid, guys. The camera cut away, but it looked like Chris Dunn ran up and like jammed the ball into Luka's stomach, and then Jackson came flying in. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. It looked like Chris Dunn just ran up and just threw the ball in Luka's stomach. Let's see. Yeah. Jackson threw like the weakest little like shove there, and then Chris Dunn came in and threw the punch. That might get a little nastier after the fact for Chris Dunn. Oh, the extracurriculars. The Isaiah Stewart versus LeBron one is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. That dude legitimately blacked out. Like he stopped seeing anything happening around him and just decided he was gonna go kill LeBron. Jackson's just coming in there to have his teammates back after Chris Dunn jammed the ball in his chest, but he did kind of go with that like push in the back, which is obviously going to fire anybody up. Let's see. Okay, so Dunn's getting ejected. Chris Dunn played a nice game. Missed a couple catch and shoot threes late, but he was really good scoring off the ball to start. And they'll get a free throw. My guess is Austin's going to take it. Lakeshore Lars says, "Can anyone explain to me why Luka's addicted to talking shit to Ty Lue?" I think Luka's addicted to talking shit about everybody, or to everybody, I should say. But he definitely has seemed to have a thing for the Clippers over the last few years. Luka at the foul line makes the technical free throw. Lakers by 11, and they have possession. 3.5 minutes left. Again, for those of you guys that are hanging out in here, again, we're gonna at the tail end of the show, we're gonna have like a quick little, 10, 15-minute instant reaction where I just give my kind of synopsis on the game, and then we'll head out of here for the night. Inbound to Rui, goes back to LeBron, back to Austin. Look at that stat from Law Murray in the chat there. Get to pin that one. Goaltend that time. That's going to cut the lead down to 9. Luka Jackson ball screen. Zoo's in a deeper drop that leaves Rui open at the top. Nice kickback pass, missed it. Luka gets an offensive rebound and draws the foul. Luka's got a chance to push the lead back to 11 here. Luka goes 1 for 2, and 10-point lead with 2:41 left. Austin on James Harden. Lakers are pretty much zoning up off the ball, as you can see. Harden gets to a step back, smokes it. Austin's open up the floor if LeBron hits him. There he does. Easy layup. Lakers up 12. Harden's going to try to attack Luka here. See if they zone up off the ball again. They do. There's the help. Nice little patient move from John Collins. Just smokes it. Big rebound from LeBron. LeBron's been great on the defensive glass here in the second half. Luka on Kobe Brown. Here comes the ball screen from Jackson in kind of a soft drop. They lose Jackson on the roll. Easy dunk. 129 to 115. Lakers by 14. Smoke just means miss. It's just a hooperism I've picked up over the years. So you smoke a layup or you smoke a floater. Usually you're only going to say that if it's a like an easy shot that you miss. You guys have any questions? Again, after the show, we're going to get into like kind of an instant reaction synopsis, but after the game, I should say. But I'm going to wait until the final buzzer. So, do you guys have any questions? We can take some questions before we get into the. Jason, how's Colorado? Just went up to Jackson Hole this weekend. Jaw-dropping scenery. Jackson Hole is amazing. I've seen it from the opposite side on a different visit that I made to Montana when I stayed in Ennis for like 3 or 4 days. On a like kind of went to Bozeman, saw the dinosaur museum there, and then went down into Ennis and hung out. I would love to ski Jackson Hole one day. It's legendary, like high difficulty skiing. It's something that's on my bucket list. The skiing in Colorado has been garbage because there's been no snow. But then randomly this morning, I woke up in Keystone, in Breckenridge, all got like 6 inches on a random storm that came through that no one even had on the weather report. So hoping that when we go skiing on Thursday, the conditions are great. Overall, I love Colorado, though. I've absolutely loved the basketball scene. The level of talent in the city is just substantially higher than it was in Tucson, and it's engaged me competitively in a way as a basketball player that I haven't felt in years, which has been a ton of fun. There's a men's league here at a place called the Charles Whitlock Rec Center that has like just a ton of really good players. Is LeBron okay? Yeah, he looks fine. Just a lot of really good players. A lot of there's literally 30 dudes who used to play in college, and the 10 or so that played high major D1 and or some level of D1, I should say. And there's just a lot of it's just every game I go up there, I'm just in this absolute dogfight against a bunch of real hoopers, and it's just something that I've really enjoyed. And then the skiing obviously is going to be great. I've really enjoyed the weather. I came up in the summer, so as you can imagine, summer in Colorado is unbelievable. The people have been really kind to us. We lucked out and found a kick-ass rental property to start with. As we kind of become familiar with the area, I just can't be any more happy with how my first 4 months have gone here. Let's see. Don't do much mountain biking. I shouldn't say much. I don't do any mountain biking. I've heard it's one of the most dangerous things you can do, is straight up mountain biking, downhill mountain biking. So it's not something that I have gotten into. What team did you root for growing up? I grew up in Tucson. We didn't have an NBA team there, so for the most part, I was essentially a basketball fan at large. I rooted for the University of Arizona men's basketball team, and then basically through LeBron, I became a fan of him, started rooting for him. But yeah. Bank Fitness, thanks for the super chat, man. Do you ever think about the 80s and 90s childhood, and now you're streaming live games and talking to a chat of people around the world for work? Every time I think about my job, I struggle to comprehend it. It's just weird. I've seen this channel completely explode into we have damn near 120,000 subscribers on YouTube, and obviously we've got all these different ventures that were going on. Lakers Collective, we got this what we're building with Playback. We have the Hoops Tonight channel. I get to work with Colin Cowherd 24 times a year. It's just wild to see everything that's happened over the last 4 years, but I'm just extremely grateful, and it's not lost on me that there's none of this without any of you guys. And so I just hope you guys know how much I appreciate you guys for supporting me since the beginning. And yeah, it's just bizarre. I'm down in my basement. I'm down in my basement. My wife is watching TV out at our in another room. It's just kind of a weird. It's definitely weird. No way around that. Yeah, we have over 2,500 members on Playback now. Thanks to you guys for coming over. See if the Lakers bench guys cannot nuke the net rating stuff here. How did you come into contact with Colin Cowherd? Glad you did, because it's cool seeing the channel grow. Yeah, to make a long story short, I was just doing content covering the Lakers, and I ended up getting a direct message from somebody that worked at the Volume, who was their head of content. Shout out to Logan Swaim. He's turned into one of my very good friends. And it's just, as you can imagine, it was just a dream come true. Literally, I got the direct message from Logan and immediately called my mom because I was just so incredibly excited. And it was so funny because I'll never forget Logan. The first time him and I got on a Zoom call, he was like, "I'm not offering you a job," and then it ended up over time, over the course of the following month, he did offer me a job eventually. But it was kind of anticlimactic at first, but obviously a super big moment for me. And I grew up as a huge fan of Colin, who literally dreamed about being on his show. So it was definitely a big moment for me. A little Aduthiero minutes, picks up a foul there. Not Logan from Nerd Sesh, different Logan. All right, I think that this game is just about over, so I'm going to go ahead and right when we get into the final buzzer ending, I'm going to get into our instant reaction. Ray, thanks for that, man. It means a lot. I mean, really, my whole thing too is I'm not trying to fit into any mold. I talk about the game of basketball the way that I want to. I've tried to be really authentic. This is the way that I see the game. I used to, when I would play in games or when I would watch games, I'd think about the reasons why we won and the reasons why we lost, and just love digging into the strategy of it all. Here goes Bronny in a little transition attack. Little setback three. Oh, I'm surprised he took that shot with the shot clock out. But yeah, anyway, so I don't try to fit into any mold. I just my whole goal with this whole channel, this whole endeavor, is just to basically channel my love for the game of basketball and it towards you guys, and My goal is to learn as much about the NBA game at every facet from the top down as I can, and to translate that to you guys as best as I can. I know that like I have the ability because of my job to spend tons of time watching film and digging into numbers and doing those sorts of things. And a lot of you guys, you don't have that time. And so if you can take 30 minutes once a day to listen to a quick show where you get, a quick breakdown of everything that's going on in the league, I think that's a value add that I can bring. And again, that's kind of the goal that I'm trying to strive for. All right, I'm going to shut off the stream here, and I'm going to, the game, and I'm going to get into a little instant reaction. Let me pull this off first. All right. Let me pull this over here. Come on now. Give me 1 second, guys. Just pull my notes up. Give me 1 sec. And bear with me, guys. I'm going to actually do like my full intro just because Jackson's actually going to be cutting this up for our YouTube channel tomorrow morning, and it'll just save me from having to record it separately. All right, welcome to Hoops Tonight here at The Volume. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope all of you guys have had an incredible week. Well, the Lakers keep their winning ways going as they improve to 13-4 with a game where they struggled a little bit guarding James Harden, but they pull away late for a comfortable double-figure win, 135-118 over the Clippers. It's the only thing we're hitting today. Just going to cover that Lakers win over the Clippers. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT so you guys don't miss show announcements. Don't forget about our podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts under Hoops Tonight. And it's always super helpful if you leave a rating and a review on that front. Jackson's doing incredible work on our social media feeds on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Make sure you guys follow us there for more content throughout the season. Last but not least, no mailbag this week, but we will be having a mailbag next Friday. So if you want to get your questions in for that mailbag, you can drop them in this episode or any of our other full episodes on YouTube, and we'll get to them in our Friday mailbags throughout the remainder of the season. All right, let's talk some basketball. Again, not going to go too long tonight, just like 10, 12 minutes or so on the game, just to give my quick breakdown. Again, we were live on playback. We're doing 2 playback streams every single week. We will have another one on Friday night for the Dallas Mavericks on the road against the Los Angeles Lakers. Again, you can follow us on YouTube for that, but you can also head over to playback.tv/hoops tonight. We can have the game on the screen. It's easier for me to take callers there. I can still get questions from the chat from YouTube, but if you want to actually come up on the stream as a caller, we got to come over to playback. So make sure you guys head over there again, playback.tv/hoops tonight. So this game followed kind of a similar flow to many of the Lakers games that we've seen this year. I've been kind of intrigued by this concept of the Lakers net rating compared to some of the other teams around the league. And, for a team that's 13-4, you'd expect them to be near the top of the league in net rating, but they haven't been. They've been a middle of the pack type of net rating team. And one of the reasons for that is that they do not come out with a ton of intensity and play super passionate, energetic defense to start games. It seems to kind of ease their way into games. They try to outscore you. And this has very much been a team that has played timely defense. This has very much been a team that has been about having a brief stretch at the end of a game where they tighten the screws and they make the plays that they need to make, and they get out of there with the win. And that is shown in those net rating numbers. So for instance, and again, these numbers do not reflect what has happened in these numbers do not reflect previous before tonight. So anything from tonight's game is not in there. But before tonight, the Lakers, again, middle of the pack net rating team for full games, but in the second half, outscoring teams by 5 points per 100 possessions, which ranks 7th in the NBA. In the fourth quarter, outscoring teams by 7 points per 100 possessions, which ranks 6th in the NBA. And in clutch situations where the Lakers are now 6-0, obviously not counting tonight, not a clutch game in this particular instance, but in the 6 clutch games they've played this year, they're outscoring teams by 30 points per 100 possessions, which is the 3rd best net rating in the league. So a lot of the pathway for the Lakers has been, they've been kind of a maddening, frustrating type of defense to watch, but then consistently throughout this early part of the season, late third quarter, They start to tighten the screws. Luka starts to up his aggression towards the basket. Then they go into that fourth quarter unit. It's LeBron and Austin. They tighten the screws on defense, and they've been able to maintain control of games. And that game tonight against the Clippers followed a very similar flow. Really, really struggled to guard James Harden tonight. We talked about a couple of specific things that the Lakers would be dealing with this matchup with the Clippers before the game started on playback, if you guys remember. For instance, DeAndre Ayton being out. I talked about the Lakers needing to handle Ivica Zubac on the offensive glass for a couple different problems that could present. So for starters, just having Jackson on an island versus a guy like Zubac, that's a problem, right? Like he's giving up a lot of muscle mass there. That's really difficult for him to handle. But also, if you're going to be switching, if you're going to allow James Harden to pull Jackson out in a switch or something along those lines, that could cause problems for Zubac on the back line battling against smaller defenders. All game long, the Lakers scrapped with Zoo and they kept him off the offensive glass. They allowed just 7 offensive rebounds in the game. A lot of really good work there. First of all, not as much switching with Jackson as you would think. And then anytime that Zoo had inside position, they were bodying in with somebody and coming swarming in from around the ball to just to kind of like gang rebound those situations to convert those defensive stops into opportunities to go the other way and play. But the flip side of that was going to be, how are they going to guard James Harden, right? And we talked about it before the show. I thought that they were going to heavily emphasize funneling James Harden to his right hand and trying to help off of him. And it didn't go well, like at all, through the first 2.5 quarters. On the handful of possessions where they did a good job funneling James Harden to his right hand, the Clippers did a really nice job moving the ball through that. And all of the Clippers role players were making them pay for it. John Collins hitting open catch and shoot threes out of the corner. Chris Dunn hit a couple of threes in the first half. Nick Batum hit a couple of threes. Chris Dunn did damage as a cutter in those situations. They weren't having too hard of a time scoring out of the possessions where James Harden dribbled to his right. And then way too many times they let James Harden get to his left hand, getting into that little easy finish off the rim. But James Harden is in such a groove right now that if you let him get to his left hand, it's a layup like every single time. And for the record, I don't want to be too critical of the Lakers defense here. James Harden has been frying the entire NBA for like 3 weeks now. For 8 games coming in, he was averaging over 33 points per game on sky-high efficiency. He was shooting damn near 40% from 3 on like 11 three-point attempts per game. James Harden has been on a vintage heater. And so he was going to be a difficult challenge under any circumstances, but he was certainly giving the Lakers problems. Scoring, and then on the possessions where they did appropriately funnel him, he was making every read, and the Clippers were making him pay. And so one of the things we saw down the stretch of this game as the Lakers started to take control is the Lakers were like, screw it, let's just start blitzing him. And they started just essentially getting the ball out of James Harden's hands, did a really nice job rotating out of it. The units when James Harden was off the floor did not score well. Kawhi Leonard obviously still coming back from an injury. Didn't look like he had much from his legs. Hit a couple of his like patented little middies and hit like a wide open transition 3 on the left wing. But for the most part was like leaving things short, struggling to see double teams. The Lakers were throwing a lot of doubles, especially with LeBron in the first half. Just as soon as Kawhi would turn his back, LeBron would throw a double team. And so a lot of it fell on James Harden. So when the Lakers were able to get the ball out of James Harden's hands to end the game and successfully rotate out of it, that allowed them to get the stops that they needed. And again, after giving up 66 points in the first half, they gave up just 52 in the second half. This has been a Laker defense that has been about timely defense, getting stops in the stretches of the game when they need to take control. And then one of the consistent trends that I've seen, like Luka's been settling for a lot of tough step back threes this year. And by the way, we did see a lot of positive regression on that front tonight. I think he was 7 for 12 from 3. He had come into this particular game shooting just 29.9% on those step back threes off of the dribble. He had not been good with them. And so getting that positive regression tonight, that was a good sign of him starting to get back to his normal percentages there. 7 for 12 from 3 tonight. But ultimately, in that third quarter, as the Clippers actually briefly took the lead a few times, Luka started to go cold. And so when the three's not going, does he have the ability to bully his way closer to the basket for easier shots? Well, one of the consistent trends we've seen through the early part of the season here is when Luka needs to as things get tighter towards the end of games, he's been able to drop his shoulder, get more penetration, get closer to the basket, gets an and one, gets a short, easy floater, gets all the way into the charge circle, draws two defenders, drops it off to Marcus Smart for a layup. Nice little flurry from Luka Doncic at the end of the third quarter that started the run for the Lakers. And then this is the dynamic you struggle with the Lakers. It's like, okay, you weather the storm with Luka. Here comes a LeBron Austin unit, which has literally been one of the best units in the NBA over the last couple of years. LeBron and Austin check in to start the fourth quarter. Lakers still defending really well. They start to get going. Austin attacking the basket with a ton of force tonight, did a ton of damage in his drives. LeBron hits a little mid-range jumper off of a Jackson Hayes ball screen off the left side. He hit two mid-range jumpers off of that specific action in the second half. LeBron, really nice scoring tonight. And really good to see that LeBron still has some real scoring pop. LeBron and Austin provide that little bit of scoring. You see that two-man connectedness with them. LeBron hits Austin on a beautiful back cut along the baseline in a really tight window for another layup. They blow the game out to like 15-17. Then when Luka comes back in, now you're dealing with Luka. Now Austin's standing off the ball in the corner. And this is probably the most encouraging thing from this entire game out of all the different things that went the Lakers' way. The Lakers ended up going to that spread pick and roll with Luka and Jackson off the top down the stretch in that middle stretch of the fourth quarter. And Austin Reeves was consistently situated in that right corner. And we talked about this a lot in the show on Monday, but one of my concerns with the Lakers to this point in the season has been, for all the talk about their shooting woes, like I'm not sure that they have a lot of guys that we would consider to be knockdown shooters. A lot of these guys are streaky shooters that are very rhythm based that can go cold, right? And so it's one of those things where like a lot of these sequences are ending in the hands of a guy like Austin on the wing, or ending in the hands of a guy like Gabe Vincent or a Marcus Smart, or sometimes even Luka. And if you look at their rotation, it's really LeBron and Rui that are like the reliable, stereotypical catch and shoot guys that you would expect to consistently knock down those shots at a high clip. And so I have my eye on, specifically with the starters, Luka and Austin's catch and shoot play, because bench guys are going to be in and out of the lineup. It's not that big of a deal. But ultimately, for this team to achieve the level of unguardability that they need to achieve to compete for a championship, they need every single sequence to end in the hands of a player who is going to consistently make you pay. Do I think their bigs, whether it's DeAndre Ayton or Jackson Hayes, are going to finish vertical spacing reps? Yes, they do, especially DeAndre Ayton is a healthier, DeAndre Ayton, when he's healthy, is a much better threat against switching schemes too, because he can do damage on the offensive glass and he can catch and hit a short little hook shot in the lane, right? But you need every single sequence. If it ends in a catch and shoot for a LeBron, that's going to go in, right? If you have a catch and shoot for Rui, you feel like it's going to go in, but you need it to feel the same for an Austin catch and shoot, or the same for an Austin catch, or for a Luka catch and shoot, right? We talked a lot about that in the Monday show. Well, Luka was facing some pretty aggressive coverages in that middle fourth quarter. He got blitzed once. There was an at the level coverage. And in those sequences, they consistently got the ball to Austin in the weak side corner. One on a Luka skip, a very beautiful skip pass from Luka, and another one on a feed to Jackson in the short roll on a blitz, who then fed it to Austin. In both cases, Austin's man came over to tag the roller. Austin had an opportunity to attack out of the corner. He knocks down the catch and shoot three on the first one. He drives the closeout on the second one and hits a little short bank shot. He had another one later on where he scored on a back cut, just cutting along the baseline, and ended up getting a wide open layup. Jackson had another short roll read off of a full court pressure sequence where he hits Rui Hachimura for a lob along the baseline as he gets a dunk. By the way, shout out to Jackson Hayes. His connective passing there in the middle of the floor has been a revelation to start this season. When he catches in those 4-on-3s, he is consistently making the right read. That improvement, as well as him just getting a little bit stronger and a little better at defending with verticality without fouling, has been a big step for this Lakers team getting a better production out of their center rotation. And then you add Maxi Kleber and the work that he's done in the last week or so. Lakers look like they have a much, much, much better center rotation than they did last year. But essentially, that was the path of the game, and they ended up blowing it open. So, like, they start to defend well. They find a coverage that works. Okay, we're blitzing James Harden. That's working. On the other end, late third quarter, Luka brings real rim pressure, much more aggression towards the basket. You go into the third quarter. Obviously, at that point, James Harden's out of the game briefly. It's a Luka Austin unit. LeBron and Austin unit. LeBron and Austin bring the scoring pop. They blow the game open. Here comes Luka back. Now it's about your ability to score out of the action when all three of your stars on the floor, which they were consistently able to do down the stretch of the game. Really, really impressive game for the Lakers offense. They hang 135 points on a pretty bad Clippers defense. I'm going to bring up a stat. This was from my buddy Law Murray, who covers the Clippers. The LA Clippers have allowed 120 plus points 10 times this season in 18 games. They did not give up their 10th game of 120 plus points last season until March 11th, the 65th game of the season. So the Clippers obviously having some major issues on defense. I had a question in the chat. Someone asked me, is there one thing that you could say that explains why the Clippers have struggled so much to start the season? It's their defense. It's that simple. They've gone to become a bottom 5 defense in the NBA when last season they had a very similar formula, right? Like James Harden, the offensive engine, floor raiser. Zubats is the two-man game partner. Athletes around them that can play with an advantage and that can defend. The difference is last year they were defending while James Harden was providing that offensive floor. This year they're not. And that has been the big drop-off for them. A couple other quick notes. LeBron scoring again, and perhaps the most encouraging thing is he was better on defense in the second half. His first 5 halves of defense in a Lakers jersey were not good. Just looked like the game was moving a little too fast for him. He was consistently getting caught out of position. Had a couple of brutal mistakes down the stretch of the second Jazz game that almost cost them the game. Much better defensive half in the second half from LeBron. He won some one-on-ones with James Harden. He was flying around in help side rotations, forcing some misses. The Lakers as a team forced a couple of Zubats misses on catches right underneath the basket late in the game. They were an example of that swarming to overcome the size disadvantage that I was talking about. And again, the defensive rebounding was a revelation all night, but LeBron's a big part of that, and I thought he was excellent in that second half defensively. But also, 25 points, 9 for 15 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds and 6 assists, plus 18 in 32 minutes, got a steal, got a block, had an offensive rebound, like 25, 6 and 6 on super high efficiency with the work that he was doing on the glass and the work that he was doing defensively in that second half. That's a really nice game from LeBron James. If LeBron can get to the point where he's routinely hanging out around that 25, 6 and 6 kind of range, that's where we're starting to talk about a guy that's in the conversation for all NBA. He won't get all NBA this year because he won't play enough games, but it's more just in terms of the level that he's reaching. And we had someone ask us in the chat, like, what will the Lakers have to do in order to justify making a super aggressive win now type of trade? To me, LeBron is the hallmark of that. If you get to late January, early February, and LeBron doesn't look like he's near that level, then you have to start taking the long view. But if LeBron continues to trend upwards, and by the time we get to late January, he's still healthy and he's playing at a super high level, now it becomes a much more complicated conversation, because it's like, when is the next time you're going to get an all NBA level talent alongside Luka in this team construct? At that point, it becomes much more complicated. It becomes much more of a decision for this Lakers front office in terms of whether or not they want to make a more aggressive win now type of move. That's where you have to start considering the Andrew Wiggins type of contract that is like a little bit bigger, in his early 30s, a little bit more complicated of a decision, but somebody that you might have to consider if LeBron clearly looks like he's playing at that level when he gets to that point. The positive regression from 3 in general from the Lakers, they ended up shooting 13 for 29 tonight. That's 45%. Obviously a strong indicator, but I do think they're going to be pretty streaky. I think the key guys, again, like when you look at their actual shot diet, so many of their threes are Luka tough step backs. So like Luka improving on his step back 3 and Austin improving on his catch and shoot 3. Those are going to be the two main kind of swing factors for the Lakers in their jump shooting if they're going to get up into that more in that middle of the pack range as a shooting team that, as we know, they're capable of getting to. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting us and supporting the show. Again, I hope this is all we have for our Wednesday. So if you guys have I guess it's technically Wednesday here in Denver too. So, but again, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting us. I hope you enjoy the holiday. I pre-recorded a show with the Nerd Sesh guys covering contender rankings. So just like kind of an update on how I feel about the top 2 tiers of contenders. Carson and Logan were awesome. We got into some debates, got into some good stuff there. So make sure you guys meet us over on the YouTube channel on Friday. And then our next playback stream Friday night, Dallas at LA. Going to be a fun one. The Lakers have a chance to go 4-0 in the play-in tournament or in the in-season tournament with a chance to compete for the in-season tournament championship. Should be a fun one. I will see you guys then.